Chapter 2341 Ruins Stone Pagoda. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. The ruins in front of him were different from the ruins he knew. The former relics were all places where various powerful forces or strong people once lived, and after a long time, they became relics. However, this ruin is not like that. So this is the relic of the intersection. Yi Tian muttered. Before he came, he had a little understanding of the situation of this relic, which belonged to the relic of the intersection, that is, it was related to the intersection period. If the same place has experienced the intersection period countless times, and the energy contained in the intersection period is strong enough, then it is possible to form a natural relic after a long time. Such relics are naturally formed and take on various forms that cannot be predicted. But in fact, most of the intersection periods are not fixed, and the real mountain collar and the channel that cut off Montenegro are not the intersection period but can only be regarded as the intersection crack. On the contrary, once the ray gap in the restricted area was cut off, it belongs to the confluence period, and it is a fixed confluence period. However, the glow gap is too small and the energy contained is too low to form a relic. Now, the ruins in the core area of Juyu Shuiyuan have the appearance of a strange stone pagoda. This strange stone pagoda has no trace of any external force, and it is very large. Half of it is in the territory of Xuanqi, and the other side has stepped into an unknown place. It should be somewhere outside Xuanqi's territory. According to the information, Biao Shui's goal is to point directly at this place. Could it be that he already knew that there were ruins here? Yi Tian guessed. The truth is afraid that this is the case. Perhaps before the endless years, there are signs of the formation of relics here. Therefore, after breaking the seal and regaining strength, the blood ancestors came here. Unexpectedly, the ruins actually formed here. In fact, after the relics are formed, it is difficult to be found, and special methods are needed to guide the energy, and then the relics can be completely revealed. After that, the ruins will be turned into treasures and truly exist forever. And Xuanqi territory has such a treasured relic, and even powerful forces use the relic treasure as their headquarters to easily step into places outside the Xuanqi territory. Swish, a high-level immeasurable life form entered, and Yi Tian went in without hesitation. After entering this ruined stone pagoda, Yi Tian received some information and learned the information of this stone pagoda. This stone pagoda has a total of 18 floors, and there are 9 floors inside Xuanqi territory, and 9 floors outside Xuanqi territory. This stone pagoda is a relic pagoda, formed naturally, so there is no assessment, but if the high-level immeasurable beings want to benefit from the relic pagoda, they need to be recognized by the relic pagoda. The so-called recognition is to meet the standard. For example, the requirement of the first layer ruined stone pagoda is that the body of flesh and blood must reach a certain level to meet the standards of the ruined stone pagoda. Since the first floor is not large, many high-order immeasurable beings can see each other after they come here. But Yi Tian didn't see the great ancestor Oxue. Obviously the great ancestor Oxue was not on the first floor, but went to a higher level. The bloody guy is not here. A top third stage high-level immeasurable life form snorted coldly. Yi Tian looked at the other party and knew who this high-level immeasurable life form was. The great ancestor of Xinghai of Xuanqi Pavilion, who is also the great ancestor of Xuanqi territory, is very close to the fourth stage, and is known as one of the high-level immeasurable beings most likely to enter the fourth stage. Even in Hurricane territory, Xinghai great ancestor's reputation is not low. Moreover, there is a list of immeasurable blood in Xuanqi Pavilion. This is a list divided by the strength of the third stage high-level immeasurable beings, and it has also been recognized by many forces. Among them, the great ancestor of Xinghai ranked 6th. The entire list is only listed in 100, which shows how powerful the Xinghai great ancestor is. And this time, it was also led by the great ancestor of Xinghai to hunt down the great ancestor of blood. The great ancestor of blood is not on the list of the infinite blood, so his strength is definitely not as good as the great ancestor of Xinghai. I'll go to the second floor first. The great ancestor of Xinghai stepped into an aperture, and a piece of data appeared in an instant. 3.6. Xinghai great ancestor didn't know what this number meant, but after displaying this data, a blood-colored stone appeared and fell directly into Xinghai great ancestor's hand. Blood Saint Gold. Xinghai great ancestor's face was startled, and this ruined stone pagoda gave away a piece of Blood Saint Gold casually. Isn't this stone pagoda a relic? How can you send treasures? A high-level immeasurable being is quite puzzled. Quote. Nonsense, why can't the ruins provide treasures? This ruin was born out of countless years in the confluence period, and at the time of its birth, some resources from the original confluence period will be incorporated into it. Juyu Shuiyuan itself has blood. The resource of holy gold is just hard to find, and it is even considered to be extinct. But now, it still exists, and it is inside this ruined stone tower. After Xinghai great ancestor obtained this piece of blood holy gold, he was directly transferred to the second floor. Blood Saint Gold. Yi Tian has also vaguely heard about this substance, but he doesn't know much about it. After all, he has only become a high-order immeasurable life form not long ago, and he often practices in seclusion, and rarely participates in the communication between high-order immeasurable life forms. Therefore, many treasures, he may not know too much. But soon, he learned about the use of blood saint gold from other high-level immeasurable beings. That is to enhance the flesh and blood. This kind of enhancement is to enhance the physical strength. If there is enough blood saint gold, the high-level immeasurable life forms whose physical potential is not enough will be compensated. Moreover, the blood saint gold is recognized as the most suitable aid for improving the infinite body. With a piece of blood saint gold, the superior infinite body can easily be upgraded from the entry level to the small level. This shows how high the value of blood saint gold is. Swish! Another high-level immeasurable life form stood in the aperture. This high-level immeasurable life form has probably condensed more than a dozen drops of immeasurable blood, and it is obviously not long before it breaks through to the third stage. 0.9. A number appeared. Immediately afterwards, this high-level immeasurable life form showed a disappointed look, obviously not up to the standard. Wow, this high-level immeasurable life form was directly kicked out by the ruined stone tower. And many high-level immeasurable beings have become dignified at this time, and they don't want to be kicked out on the first floor. Chapter 2342 The second floor of the stone tower. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. Soon, one after another high-order immeasurable lifeforms were tested, and nearly half of the high-order immeasurable lifeforms failed to meet the standards of the ruined stone pagoda and were directly kicked out. Perhaps they are the existences that countless great ancestors look up to in the outside world, but there is nothing they can do here. Once they are kicked out, even the top third stage high-level immeasurable life forms cannot resist. Perhaps only by becoming a high-level immeasurable life form in the fourth stage, can it compete against the rules of the ruined stone tower. And many high-level immeasurable lifeforms have also figured out the standards of the ruined stone tower, and they only need to test the data to reach 2 or more, they can pass. And most of the high-level immeasurable lifeforms only had a few points of data, and were immediately kicked out. The point is that some third-stage high-level immeasurable lifeforms with slightly weaker strengths meet the standards, while some top third-stage high-ranking immeasurable lifeforms have been kicked out. Obviously, this data is not based on cultivation base. It should be based on the potential of flesh and blood. Yi Tian guessed. After all, the first layer is to detect the flesh and blood. Since it is not based on the cultivation base, it is not based on the strength of the flesh and blood. The high probability is the potential of the flesh and blood. The potential is not good. No matter how high the 250 cultivation base is, it will not be recognized by the ruined stone tower and will naturally be kicked out. Finally, Yi Tian also went up and stood in the aperture. The next moment, a piece of data emerged. 4.8. Seeing this data, all high-order immeasurable beings were shocked. You must know that the previous best data was only close to 4, but Yi Tian directly raised this number to nearly 4.8. This means that Yi Tian's flesh and blood body has far more potential than other high-level immeasurable beings. And Yi Tian himself had some surprises. I didn't expect that the physical potential of Xuanming great ancestors' cloned body is much higher than that of other high-level immeasurable beings present. Yi Tian secretly said. If his real body is copied to the body to detect, the number will be more exaggerated. After all, he did not invest too much resources in the cloned body of Xuanming great ancestor, so the potential of the flesh and blood body is still limited. At this time, the ruined stone pagoda also gave Yi Tian a piece of blood saint gold. It's also blood saint gold. Many high-level immeasurable beings here have obtained blood saint gold. It seems that the blood saint gold of the ruined stone pagoda is really CJFJ a lot. Yi Tian secretly said. Wow. In an instant, Yi Tian teleported to the second floor of the ruined stone pagoda. After entering the second floor, Yi Tian obtained a bit of information from the ruined stone pagoda and learned about the situation on the second floor. In order to obtain benefits on the second floor of the relic stone pagoda, a life must be derived for the relic stone pagoda, and the derived life must meet the standards of the relic stone pagoda in order to obtain benefits. The area of the second floor is much larger than that of the first floor, but for the high-order immeasurable beings, this area is still nothing. A drop of blood fell in front of Yi Tian. Immeasurable blood. Yi Tian was slightly surprised. The ruined stone pagoda gave him a drop of immeasurable blood, and let him use the immeasurable blood to derive a kind of life. Immediately, he discovered that every high-level immeasurable life body has obtained a drop of immeasurable blood, and they all need to use this drop of immeasurable blood to derive a creature that meets the standard. The point is, what is the standard? They are completely unclear. And infinite blood will be exhausted. Once exhausted, you can't do it if you want to re-derivatize creatures. Fortunately, there is no time limit, so many high-level immeasurable beings are thinking seriously. Sudden, a high-level immeasurable life form broke open his body and took out a drop of immeasurable blood. Ha ha ha, anyway, I didn't say that I can't use my own blood, the stone towers of the ruins, and there is no life form to control, I just cheated like this, it shouldn't be discovered. However, other high-level immeasurable beings did not do this. After all, if he succeeds, other high-level immeasurable beings will definitely do the same. I saw that this high-level immeasurable life body was derivatized with a drop of immeasurable blood, and it didn't take too long to successfully derive a creature. Failed. This high-level immeasurable life form frowned. Afterwards, he tried many times, but he was not recognized by the ruined stone pagoda. At this time, the great ancestor of Xinghai sneered. Don't waste your immeasurable blood. These immeasurable blood contain the original breath of the relic stone tower, and belong to the immeasurable blood specially transformed. The life derived from this immeasurable blood will promote the relic. The growth of the stone tower. I see. Numerous high-level immeasurable life forms suddenly realized. Obviously, cheating is impossible. Afterwards, other high-level immeasurable life forms used that drop of immeasurable blood derivative creatures from the ruined stone tower. Time passed slowly, and I don't know how long it took. Sudden, a high-level immeasurable life form was directly kicked out. It turned out that his immeasurable blood was exhausted, so he was judged to fail by the ruined stone tower and was kicked out directly. This time, let other high-level immeasurable life forms be careful, and dare not consume this immeasurable drop of blood casually. Yi Tian is quite confident, but he feels that if the derived creature is far beyond the standard, the benefits obtained from the ruined stone pagoda will be better. If this is the case, he has to find a way to derive an excellent creature. It's better to copy this drop of immeasurable blood from the outside world, and then slowly study this drop of immeasurable blood, so as to derive and create better creatures. Yi Tian thought to himself. Immediately, he was here. After a while, he replicated this immeasurable drop of blood in the outside world, and then his entire body directly entered this immeasurable drop of blood, observing and comprehending this immeasurable drop of blood. As long as this drop of immeasurable blood is not destroyed, the immeasurable blood copied will not disappear, which is enough for Yi Tian to research and create all the time. Not long after, a high-level immeasurable life form succeeded, and it was the most powerful Xinghai Great Ancestor here, and the creatures created by the Xinghai Great Ancestor were directly removed by the ruined stone pagoda and could not be studied by other great ancestors. At this moment, Yi Tian can also create a qualified creature in an instant, but he still wants to create a better creature, so he is not in a hurry to create a derivative. Another period of time passed, and some high-level immeasurable lifeforms were kicked out, while others were successfully created by derivation, and after receiving rewards, they directly entered the third floor of the ruined stone pagoda. And just as Yi Tian guessed, each high-level immeasurable lifeform received different rewards. After another period of time, all the high-level immeasurable beings here left except for some new ones. At this time, Yi Tian finally started to evolve and create. Chapter 2343 Incomplete and Immeasurable Pictures. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. Yi Tian used this drop of immeasurable blood on the second floor of the ruined stone pagoda to start to derive creatures. For him, it was not difficult at all. He knows too much about this immeasurable drop of blood, and can definitely derive creatures far beyond the standard of the ruined stone pagoda. Time passed little by little, and it didn't take too long before a creature was derived from Yi Tian. This creature resembles a humanoid, a form between man and ape. Of course, the appearance is actually meaningless, the real inside is the blood. Success. Yi Tian quietly waited for the relic stone pagoda to test this creature. A ray of light enveloped this creature and took it away directly, which means that the creature created by Yi Tian meets the standard of the ruined stone tower. At the same time, the reward belonging to Yi Tian appeared. Swish! A blood-red fruit appeared in Yi Tian's hand. At this time, the eyes of other high-level immeasurable beings looked over. Boundless blood origin fruit. Oh my god, there is such a good thing in the ruined stone pagoda on the second floor. A high-level immeasurable life form exclaimed. The other high-level immeasurable beings were also extremely shocked. After all, this is the immeasurable blood source fruit, not an ordinary treasure. An immeasurable blood source fruit can guarantee that the high-level immeasurable life forms at the peak of the second stage will advance to the third stage 100% and condense immeasurable blood. That is to say, an immeasurable blood source fruit can create a third stage high-level immeasurable life form. In Xuanqi territory, I don't know how many people have been trapped in the second stage, unable to break through for a long time. It is conceivable how important the infinite blood origin fruit is to them. In addition, the infinite blood origin fruit can also help the third stage high-level immeasurable life form to condense hundreds of drops of immeasurable blood or even thousands of immeasurable blood at one time, which is enough to improve their strength. Compared with the benefits obtained by other high-level immeasurable beings on the second floor, Yi Tian's benefits are undoubtedly the most precious. Sure enough, the creatures I created by derivation should have the highest potential and the greatest value, so the benefits of the ruined stone pagoda for me are also the greatest. Yi Tian thought to himself. Although the boundless blood origin fruit is useless to him now, when he hits the third stage or cultivates in the third stage, it can save many years of penance. A beam of light descended, sending Yi Tian directly to the third floor of the ruined stone pagoda, leaving only the envious gazes of those high-level immeasurable beings. The third floor of the ruined stone tower. Yi Tian just came here and saw the great ancestor of blood and the great ancestor of Xinghai. But at this moment, they didn't do it. This makes Yi Tian a little strange. After all, the great ancestor of Xinghai came here to kill the great ancestor of blood. The great ancestor Biao Shui glanced at Yi Tian, but did not recognize it. After all, Yi Tian is now the cloned body of the great ancestor Xuanming, and there is nothing in common with the cloned body of the real body. Unless Yi Tian makes a move, he will be seen by the blood ancestor. After arriving on the third floor, the ruined stone pagoda gave Yi Tian some information, letting him understand the situation on the third floor. In order to obtain the benefits of the ruined stone pagoda from the third floor, an immeasurable map must be perfected. Strictly speaking, it does not need to be completely perfected. It only needs to be perfected to the standard of the ruined stone tower, and then the benefits can be obtained. Infinite pictures. Yi Tian is a little confused, he doesn't know this thing yet. This great ancestor, what is boundless picture? Yi Tian asked a high-level immeasurable being who seemed to be able to talk, and asked. You've already entered the second stage, and you still don't know the boundless map. Could it be that you are a loose cultivator? The high-level immeasurable life form was surprised. However, he still answered Yi Tian. The immeasurable map is a kind of thing that is naturally conceived, and we call it the infinite map. But the immeasurable map that has been bred is incomplete, and basically only in the ruins will it be bred. The infinite map. The infinite map is of high value to the major forces, such as those infinite body secret techniques, which are actually created from the incomplete infinite map. Otherwise, it is only by our own ability. To create a boundless body secret technique, even if it is an inferior boundless body secret technique, is extremely difficult. I see, Yi Tian suddenly realized. He really thought that the infinite body secret technique was created out of thin air by some powerful beings, but he didn't expect it to be created from the comprehension of the infinite diagram. Afterwards, through the conversation, we learned that if you comprehend a little something from the immeasurable map, you can create a superior immeasurable body secret technique, and if you comprehend the mystery of 50%, you can create a superior immeasurable body secret technique. For flowers, has anyone completely perfected the immeasurable map? Yi Tian asked. There should be, the high-level immeasurable life form said casually. For example, there is a complete immeasurable map in Xuanqi Pavilion, but only the pavilion owner of Xuanqi Pavilion headquarters can browse. And the complete immeasurable picture, you can comprehend and create a Mahayana immeasurable body that surpasses the best. But the cultivation of the Mahayana immeasurable body is too demanding, even if it is created, not necessarily someone can practice it. At least, I have not heard of anyone who has practiced the Mahayana infinite body. Of course, there are no absolutes, maybe there is a great ancestor who practiced it, but he didn't say it. Point 0. Mahayana infinite body. Yi Tian was a little moved. But he has already practiced the superior immeasurable body, can he still practice the Mahayana immeasurable body? Even if I haven't practiced it yet, I can copy the cloned body when I haven't cultivated the promised body, and use that cloned body as the first body to practice. After I have cultivated to this realm, I can replace the other cloned bodies, so that all cloned bodies will all have Mahayana immeasurable bodies. Yi Tian thought to himself. Of course, the premise of everything is to obtain a complete immeasurable graph. In the past, it was absolutely impossible for him to obtain a complete immeasurable map, but now, this ruined stone pagoda has an incomplete immeasurable map. If it is completely perfected, there is hope for his Mahayana immeasurable body. Anyway, give it a try first. An incomplete and immeasurable map turned into a ray of light and directly merged into his immeasurable will, allowing him to begin to comprehend and perfect it on the third floor. It is the incomplete part of the incomplete picture, only 1/9. Yi Tian frowned slightly. Obviously, even the ruined stone pagoda did not give him all the incomplete and immeasurable pictures at one time, but only gave him 1/9. The key is that he can't obtain other parts of the incomplete and immeasurable map from other high-level immeasurable life forms, because the incomplete and immeasurable map contains the breadth of the ruined stone tower, and is completely integrated into the infinite will, and can no longer be taught to other great ancestors. I hope to get more incomplete pictures in the future. Yi Tian muttered about the corpse. Chapter 2344 Progress, Sacrifice the copy body for research. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. Afterwards, Yi Tian found a position and began to study the 1/9 incomplete picture. As for why there was no conflict between the great ancestor of blood and the great ancestor of Xinghai, he also learned from the conversation just now. It turned out that the great ancestor of Xinghai had just entered here, and there was indeed a conflict with the great ancestor of blood, but as soon as he started, it attracted the suppression of the ruined stone pagoda and was almost kicked out. After that, the great ancestor of Xinghai did not do anything. After all, for the great ancestor of Xinghai, the benefits of the ruined stone pagoda cannot be underestimated. Perhaps the rewards of the first few layers are average, but after entering more layers, the benefits will be more, and maybe you can obtain resources that are of great help to his strength. Therefore, he does not want to leave now. With the passage of time, more and more high-order immeasurable beings have entered the third floor of the 250 of the remained stone pagoda, but there has not been a single high-order immeasurable life entity that has entered the fourth floor of the remained stone pagoda. After all, the time for the relic stone tower to appear is still very short, so many ancestors have not perfected the incomplete and immeasurable map to the extent that it meets the standard of the relic stone tower. This immeasurable picture is too mysterious, and it is too difficult to perfect. Yi Tian secretly said, even the high-level immeasurable beings of the third stage, if they want to perfect this 1/9 of the incomplete immeasurable map, it is almost impossible to do it, at most a little bit. Relying on a little bit of perfection from one high-order immeasurable being, and gathering the perfected results of many high-order immeasurable beings, there is hope to completely perfect an immeasurable map in the end. Of course, the premise is that that force has obtained the inheritance of the incomplete and immeasurable map, and can freely comprehend and improve it for the high-level immeasurable beings under its command. And there is no way to communicate with each other, and naturally there is no way to collect the research results of many high-level and infinite life forms. However, it is really possible for the ruined stone pagoda to give birth to a complete immeasurable map. It only takes one high-level immeasurable life form to come here to complete the immeasurable map, and there will always be a day when it will be completely perfected. Perhaps when the immeasurable map of the ruined stone pagoda is completed, there will be incomparably powerful beings here to snatch it, and it is possible to directly break the ruined stone pagoda. After all, there are many examples of ruins being occupied, and some powerful forces in Xuanqi territory even use the ruins as their headquarters. These are too far away from me. Let's first complete this incomplete and immeasurable map, and strive to completely improve this 1/9 of the incomplete and infinite map. Yi Tian secretly said. At the beginning, Yi Tian was at a loss when faced with this incomplete and immeasurable map, and did not know how to improve it, but gradually, he realized something and also had a little insight. With more and more insights, he gradually has a direction. But even if you have a direction, it is difficult to study a little mystery. This day, Yi Tian finally realized that even if it was him, if he only slowly realized it by himself, he would never be able to completely perfect the 1/9 incomplete boundless diagram, let alone complete the entire boundless diagram. If he wants to perfect this immeasurable map by himself, there is only one way. Try yourself. The so-called self-test method is that he cultivates this incomplete and immeasurable map, finds out the defects through cultivation, and then improves it step by step. However, cultivating 1/9 of the incomplete picture, the consequences are so serious that the body will become riddled with holes. Any powerful high-level immeasurable beings would not dare to do so. Even if they found some weak ancestors and asked them to cultivate, they would not be able to find out their flaws, and naturally they would not be able to perfect them. Even the top powers can't make a group of high-level immeasurable lifeforms sacrifice themselves to perfect the immeasurable map, so they can't use this method, but I can use this method. Yi Tian thought to himself. Anyway, his cloned body was destroyed, and it was enough to clone again, and he was not afraid of sacrifice at all. Just use this method, Yi Tian decided. Of course, his research could not be carried out here, otherwise he would not be able to hide himself under the attention of numerous high-level immeasurable beings. So, Yi Tian conducted research in the silent Black Sea. Cut off the sky. Yi Tian practiced by copying his body, and then he found the problem step by step, and then spread it to perfection. Since there is only 1/9 of the immeasurable figure, only a part of the immeasurable body can be cultivated for research. It didn't take long for his duplicate body to have a big problem, and it was an irreversible fundamental problem. The incomplete and immeasurable map really can't be cultivated. If other people cultivate, even if they are just getting started, they will be useless. Yi Tian thought to himself. Afterwards, he continued to practice, and after completely scrapping the duplicate body, he continued to duplicate a duplicate body and began to practice again. In this way, Yi Tian sacrificed one after another body for research, and what he lost was only some energy resources used to copy the body, and he did not lack resources, so this loss was still within the range of tolerance. It didn't take long for Yi Tian to complete a little incomplete picture. If it is used to enter the 4th floor, it should be more than enough. However, Yi Tian did not show it, but continued to study and improve it. He wanted to completely improve the 1/9 of the incomplete and immeasurable map, so that the benefits obtained were not only more, but also beneficial to himself. Sudden, one of the great ancestors exclaimed, "The great ancestor of the blood has perfected the immeasurable map and reached the standard, and has gone to the 4th floor. I saw it too, and he also got a very valuable piece of Sumeru gold." Although great ancestor Biao Shui is abominable, he has to admit that his understanding is really good, and he has entered the 4th floor so quickly. One after another, the great ancestor was discussing, which made the 5.9 Xinghai great ancestor very unhappy. Although he entered here one step later, even if he was given a little more time, he still could not enter the 4th floor. He estimates that it will take a long time for himself, and this is the gap. Certainly, as far as strength is concerned, he is naturally not afraid of the great ancestor of blood, and has absolute certainty to injure and even kill the great ancestor of blood. In the blink of an eye, another period of time passed. On this day, as time passed, one great ancestor after another went to the 4th floor. At this time, the great ancestor discovered that the incomplete and immeasurable map in the infinite will is becoming more and more illusory. If it still cannot be perfected, there is no progress at all, and the incomplete and infinite map will disappear. At that time, they will be disqualified for fear of being kicked out directly. Chapter 2345 Completely Perfect, Inheritance. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. Yi Tian naturally discovered this problem, but it had nothing to do with him. He has already perfected the immeasurable map and reached the standard, but as long as he doesn't show it, he won't be sent to the 4th floor. There are many high-level immeasurable lifeforms that were eliminated on the 3rd floor. I am afraid that not many high-level immeasurable lifeforms can enter the 4th floor of the ruined stone pagoda. Yi Tian secretly said. However, the entire Xuanqi realm is too big, and there may not be many high-order immeasurable beings in one domain, but there are more than a few high-order immeasurable beings who come here, even if they are high-order immeasurable beings in distant territories. When the body got the news, I was afraid that it would come too. Therefore, no matter how difficult the 3rd floor of the ruined stone pagoda is, there will still be a steady stream of high-level immeasurable lifeforms arriving. Therefore, there will be no shortage of high-level immeasurable lifeforms entering the 4th floor of the ruined stone pagoda. With the passage of time, Yi Tian's perfection of the incomplete and immeasurable map is getting better and better, but since he does not have the entire incomplete and infinite map, he will never be able to complete it completely, and he can only perfect it to the limit. After he is going to collect the 9 immeasurable pictures of the stone pagoda of the ruins, he will combine the 9 immeasurable pictures and complete it again, so that 29 can complete the complete immeasurable picture. Another time passed. Yi Tian didn't know how many practice tests he had carried out, and the results were remarkable, finally allowing him to perfect this 1/9 incomplete and immeasurable map to the extreme. Immediately, Yi Tian showed the incomplete and immeasurable picture of 1/9 after completion, and was charged by the ruined stone pagoda. A reward fell on Yi Tian's body. This reward is a ray of light, which is directly integrated into Yi Tian's body, so other high-level immeasurable beings have seen it and don't know what it is. It's this. Yi Tian was a little surprised. The ruined stone pagoda gave him the 1/9 of the incomplete and immeasurable map just now, but this is the inheritance of the incomplete and immeasurable map that can be spread. The previous incomplete and immeasurable map can only be comprehended by oneself, and it is still temporary. If it cannot be completed within the specified time, the incomplete and infinite map will disappear. But this incomplete and immeasurable map can be preserved forever, as the background of a power. Although other great ancestors did not dare to practice this incomplete and immeasurable picture, but they have learned a lot from the incomplete and immeasurable picture, and maybe they can create a sublime and immeasurable body from it. It can be said that the inheritance of this incomplete and immeasurable map is not compared with ordinary resources, but a symbol of the heritage of a top power. But now, Yi Tian has directly obtained this inheritance. If you collect the inheritance of the 9 incomplete and immeasurable pictures, then the inheritance of the incomplete and immeasurable pictures of the ruined stone pagoda will be gathered, and it will be easier to complete it completely by then. Yi Tian muttered. Yi Tian was selected by a beam of light and instantly entered the 4th floor of the ruined stone pagoda. The 4th floor of the ruined stone pagoda is a mountain in nothingness, and a high-level immeasurable being is inside this mountain at this moment. On the top of the mountain, there are also stone tablets, each of which is inscribed with a picture. Infinite pictures. Yi Tian was surprised, but soon, he could see that the immeasurable pictures on the stone tablet were inscribed naturally and could not be branded away, and the stone tablet was integrated with the entire ruined stone pagoda and could not be taken away. Therefore, many high-level immeasurable life forms can only be comprehended, but cannot be taken away. At the same time, Yi Tian also received a message from the ruined stone pagoda. On the 4th floor, in order to obtain benefits, the immeasurable maps contained in the stone tablets must be perfected to the extent that they meet the standards of the ruined stone pagoda. It can be said that this level is much more difficult than the 3rd level. In addition, only when the infinite will enters the stone tablet can one truly see the incomplete and immeasurable map, and after the infinite will is ejected, the incomplete and immeasurable map must be perfected to the level that meets the standard. If you fail once, you will be kicked out directly. So, on the 4th floor of the ruined stone pagoda, I can directly spy on all the incomplete and immeasurable pictures. Just complete these immeasurable pictures here, then I can get a complete immeasurable picture. Yi Tian was quite excited. However, in this way, the inheritance value of the incomplete and immeasurable map he obtained on the 3rd floor of the ruined stone pagoda has plummeted. Of course, he can sell it to other forces if he doesn't need it carefully, and there will definitely be many forces willing to pay a high price to buy it. The immeasurable map inheritance bred by this kind of relic cannot be copied by oneself, and can only be bestowed by the relic or snatched from the relic, a unique treasure. Therefore, its value is only reduced for him, but not at all for other forces. Let's start understanding from this stone tablet. Yi Tian came to a stone tablet on the side of the great ancestor of blood, and began to comprehend. Although they all comprehend the same stele, after each high-level immeasurable being has entered the immeasurable will, the void that they enter is actually different, and they will not interfere with each other. It's almost the same as the immeasurable pictures given on the 3rd floor of the ruined stone pagoda. They are all 1/9. The 3rd floor of the ruined stone pagoda is only a screening, and the great ancestors who are able to perfect the immeasurable pictures are qualified to enter the 4th floor and improve the other 250 lacking immeasurables. The picture part, Yi Tian thought to himself. Afterwards, he still adopted the old method, using the copying of his body to cultivate the incomplete and immeasurable map, in order to improve the incomplete and immeasurable map. And because Yi Tian found the law before, so this time the speed of improvement is faster and the efficiency is higher. After a long time, Yi Tian finally completely perfected this second incomplete picture. But there are only 2 incomplete and immeasurable pictures, and they still cannot be combined. Go to the second stone monument. Yi Tian walked to the second stone tablet and continued to comprehend. At this time, several immeasurable maps have been completed by high-level immeasurable beings, but they are not completely perfected, only a little bit, which is in line with the standard of the ruined stone pagoda, which is thousands of times worse than Yi Tian's complete perfection, even more. In this way, Yi Tian perfected this immeasurable map at an extremely slow speed in the eyes of other great ancestors, but the intelligent high-order immeasurable lifeform has already seen the clue. After all, Yi Tian really spent so many years on a stone tablet and did not meet the standard, and was kicked out long ago. Obviously, Yi Tian has long been perfected to meet the standard but is still perfecting, so that he will not be kicked out. But this has nothing to do with other high-level immeasurable beings, they have more control. Chapter 2346 Complete an immeasurable map, Golden Sand Treasure. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. Over the years, the number of high-level immeasurable beings on the 4th floor of the ruined stone pagoda has increased, but there are still no high-level immeasurable beings that can complete the incomplete immeasurable pictures on all the stone tablets and meet the standards of the ruined stone pagoda. Even the great ancestor of blood and the great ancestor of Xinghai are currently stuck on the last stone tablet, and it is uncertain whether they can finally successfully complete it. Finally, the great ancestor Oxue completed it first, and the ruined stone pagoda immediately gave the great ancestor Oxue a benefit. Boom! A blood-colored crystal the size of a football appeared in the hand of the great ancestor of blood. Seeing this blood-colored crystal, the pupils of many high-level immeasurable beings shrank, and even the great ancestor of the star sea showed desire. It turned out to be one of the most suitable treasures for the 3rd stage high-level immeasurable beings, Shuiging Yuan crystal. 1. Regarding the blood Jiang origin crystal, some high-level immeasurable life forms have only heard of it, but have not seen it. It is rumored that a batch of blood Jiang source crystals was born in Juyu Shuiyuan, and even attracted the high-level immeasurable life forms of the 4th stage, and a war broke out. They are not surprised that there are blood Jiang origin crystals in the ruined stone pagoda, but when the great ancestor of blood got the blood Jiang origin crystal, they are jealous. The key problem is that the blood Jiang source crystal can greatly extract an infinite amount of blood, which is enough to make the strength of the high-level immeasurable life body in the 3rd stage skyrocket. Even if it is a high-level immeasurable being that has just broken through to the 3rd stage, it is possible to increase tens of thousands of drops of immeasurable blood at one time if it is cultivated with the blood Jiang source crystal. If there are enough blood Jiang source crystals, 129,600 drops of blood can be condensed in a short period of time. It's a pity that the number of blood Jiang origin crystals is too small, too rare. Even a single blood Jiang origin crystal is enough to make the 4th stage high-level immeasurable lifeforms take action. Ha ha ha, I didn't expect to get a blood Jiang origin crystal in the ruined stone pagoda. The great ancestor of blood said excitedly. Although he knew that there was a ruin here, he really didn't know what he could get from the ruins. This time, he made a lot of money just from this blood Jiang origin crystal. Swish! The great ancestor of blood entered the 5th floor instantly. And when he came to the 5th floor, he didn't think about getting benefits from the 5th floor, but quickly refined the blood Jiang source crystal. If he completely refines this blood Jiang source crystal, he is sure to push his own cultivation to the limit of the 3rd stage, which is the level of condensing 129,600 drops of immeasurable blood. At that time, the whole body will be filled with blood, and the strength will be greatly improved. In that case, Xinghai Great Ancestor can't help him. Even if he can't beat Xinghai Great Ancestor, he is sure to save his life. After another period of time passed, the Xinghai Great Ancestor finally completed the last incomplete and immeasurable map, which reached the standard, but the reward he received was slightly worse, not the blood Jiang source crystal. Afterwards, the Great Ancestor of Xinghai also entered the 5th floor of the ruined stone pagoda. In the following years, the number of high-level immeasurable beings that entered the 5th floor gradually increased, but it was still very rare compared to the whole. And Yi Tian has been staying on the 4th floor of the ruined stone pagoda. These high-level immeasurable beings come and go, so they don't pay attention to Yi Tian. The 5th stone tablet, the 6th steel, 7th steel. At the back, Yi Tian's speed of perfection is getting faster and faster. After all, he has the experience of perfecting several other incomplete and immeasurable maps, so he naturally perfects faster. In the end, Yi Tian spied the 9th incomplete picture. After seeing this incomplete and immeasurable picture, all the 9 incomplete and immeasurable pictures can be assembled together and turned into a complete incomplete and immeasurable picture. The immeasurable map that was born of the ruined stone pagoda was originally incomplete, but the degree of the incompleteness was not too serious. Now Yi Tian has completely perfected 8 of them, and only needs to improve this one, and then complete one as a whole, then you can get a complete infinite picture. When he thought that he was about to obtain a complete immeasurable picture, he was naturally extremely excited. After another period of time, Yi Tian completely perfected the last incomplete picture. At this time, the 9 incomplete and immeasurable pictures were combined in his heart. Immediately, the 9 incomplete and immeasurable pictures that had been completely perfected now seemed to have some flaws. Therefore, Yi Tian continued to improve on the 4th floor. Anyway, he had completely completed these incomplete and immeasurable maps. As long as he did not leave, it would be impossible for the ruined stone pagoda to kick him out. With Yi Tian's continuous efforts, the immeasurable map became more and more complete, with fewer and fewer defects. Coupled with the verification of the practice of copying the body, the defects are eliminated one by one. Successful, the immeasurable diagram is completely perfected, and now it can be regarded as a complete immeasurable diagram. It only takes a few years to realize a Mahayana immeasurable body from it. Yi Tian muttered. Afterwards, his other cloned bodies started to create the Mahayana infinite body exclusively from the infinite diagram, and his cloned body of the great ancestor of Xuanming showed the results directly and was ready to enter the 5th floor. Boom! As soon as Yi Tian showed the results, the ruined stone pagoda shook. Immediately, many high-level immeasurable beings still in the ruined stone tower were alarmed, but they did not know why the ruined stone tower shook. Could it be that I caused it? Yi Tian guessed secretly. At this moment, the benefits of the ruined stone pagoda came to him. A golden grain of sand appeared in his palm, and he quickly put it away. Although other high-level immeasurable beings saw it, they didn't know what it was. Many treasures have the appearance of golden sand grains, but when looking at treasures, it is natural not to look at the appearance but also to look at the breath and essence. And the breath of this treasure is very unfamiliar, they have never seen it before, and naturally they do not know it. Only Yi Tian himself knew that this treasure was different, like Li's, and it was probably far above the blood Zhang origin crystal. Because when he just collected this treasure, he felt quite struggling, and after the breath emitted by this treasure was absorbed by him, he was actually tempering his boundless bones, and even tempering his flesh and blood, so that the flesh and blood body it has been raised a little bit. It seems to be very weak, but it was only touched just now. It is conceivable that this treasure is enough to greatly increase his cultivation speed, and it also has unimaginable benefits. Let's study this after we go out, Yi Tian secretly said. A beam of light enveloped Yi Tian, sending Yi Tian directly to the 5th floor. On this level, he also saw other high-level immeasurable beings, such as the great ancestor of blood. But at this moment, the aura of the great ancestor of blood was much stronger than before, and because the breakthrough was too fast, the aura on his body was a little difficult to restrain, it was really too powerful. Chapter 2347 Black God Armor Stone. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. It seems that the blood ancestor has refined the blood Zhang source crystal, and the cultivation base should be almost raised to the limit of the 3rd stage, condensing 129,600 drops of immeasurable blood. Yi Tian thought to himself. With such a powerful cultivation base, the great ancestor of Xinghai may not be sure to kill him. After all, the great ancestor of blood is very powerful, and it is difficult to kill an opponent at the same level. Although the great ancestor of Xinghai is very enchanting, ranking 6th on the boundless blood list, at this moment the great ancestor of blood might also have the qualifications to enter the boundless blood list. Therefore, the great ancestor of Xinghai is unlikely to kill the great ancestor of blood. Of course, Yi Tian didn't pay attention to this. After all, he has nothing to do with the great ancestor of blood, and naturally doesn't care about his life and death. After arriving on the 5th floor, Yi Tian also received some messages and learned about the situation on the 5th floor. The 5th floor turned out to be to create an infinite body secret technique. Yi Tian secretly said, if you want to gain benefits from the 5th floor of the ruined stone pagoda, you must create an infinite body secret technique in order to gain benefits. And the created infinite body secret technique must create 250 or so based on the infinite body secret technique of the ruined stone pagoda. After all, each immeasurable map is unique, and it is naturally very easy to comprehend the immeasurable body secret technique from the immeasurable map of the ruined stone pagoda. For the high-level immeasurable beings in the 3rd stage, if there are incomplete and immeasurable diagrams, it is also possible to create immeasurable body secret techniques. Perhaps it would be difficult to create a medium-grade immeasurable body secret technique and a superior immeasurable body secret technique, but it should not be difficult to create a low-level immeasurable body secret technique. However, it must be created within a specified time, which is 10 million years of the first year of the world. If this time period cannot be created, it will still be kicked out. But they have already left the 4th floor of the ruined stone pagoda. There is no incomplete and immeasurable map, and there is no imprint. They cannot remember the many mysteries of the incomplete and immeasurable map, memory. This caused great difficulty for them. If the time was longer, the memory would be blurred. This was an unavoidable situation. If they completely perfected the 9 incomplete and immeasurable pictures and combined the 9 incomplete and immeasurable pictures, then it would be difficult to forget them, even the ruined stone pagoda would be difficult for them to forget. Unfortunately, they can't. When Yi Tian came to the 5th floor, the great ancestors of Xinghai and the others had been here for a long time, but they still hadn't created a sublime and immeasurable body secret technique. After all, it takes a long time to create such a secret technique. If there is a complete inheritance, they can easily create it. Now, Yi Tian was thinking about what immeasurable body secret technique he should create. The Mahayana infinite body secret technique takes a very long time. The first year of 10 million realms seems to be very long, but it should still not be created. If it can't be created, it is equal to 0, and the ruined stone pagoda can't detect my achievements. Then I will be kicked out. Create a superior and immeasurable body secret technique first. Yi Tian decided. The difficulty of creating a superior immeasurable body secret technique has been greatly reduced, and it can definitely be easily created within the first 10 million years of the world, and it will not even take so much time. In this way, a group of high-level immeasurable beings created an immeasurable body secret technique on the 5th floor of the ruined stone pagoda. The first year of 100,000 worlds. The first year of the million world. As time is getting closer and closer to the first year of the 10 million world, some high-level immeasurable beings are anxious, which makes it more difficult to create immeasurable body secret techniques. In the first year of the 7 millionth world, when the great ancestor Oxue came in, the great ancestor Oxue finally succeeded in creating an inferior and immeasurable body secret technique. This inferior and immeasurable body secret technique belongs to him, and he can sell it to any great ancestor to practice in the future. If it is converted into value, it is not low. Good luck, guy. The great ancestor of Xinghai frowned. He is the least hopeful that the great ancestor Oxue created the infinite body secret technique and successfully entered the 6th floor. After all, in that case, the great ancestor Oxue might obtain the treasures that would help him reach the 4th stage. Once the great ancestor Oxue reaches the 4th stage, even if he is not an opponent, how can he dare to trouble the great ancestor Oxue? A black stone appeared in the hands of the great ancestor Bai Shui, which was a benefit given to him by the ruined stone pagoda. Could this be the Black God Armor Stone? The great ancestor of Xinghai was shocked. The Black God Armor Stone is not a thing of Xuanqi territory, but another world where it meets Juyu Shuiyuan, God Armor World. The strength of the God Armor realm is naturally not as good as the Xuanqi realm, but it is still very powerful. However, because the God Armor realm is not as good as the Xuanqi realm, the ruined stone pagoda falls in the Xuanqi realm. Of course, this was the great ancestor Biao Shui who used special means to force Xuanqi into the 9 nether blood abyss. When the relic stone tower is stable in the later stage, it will be connected to the God Armor world again. At that time, the high-level immeasurable life forms of the God Armor world will also be eligible to enter the relic stone tower. The Black God Armor is a treasure in the God Armor world, but there is also a golden God Armor on it, but the value of the golden God Armor is enough to make the 4th stage high-level immeasurable life forms desperately. The function of the Black God Armor Stone is to form a defensive armor to protect the whole body after refining, which has extremely terrifying defense power. There was once a top 3rd stage high-level immeasurable life form wearing the defensive armor formed by the Black God Armor Stone, which resisted the attack of the 4th stage high-order immeasurable life body, only suffered minor injuries, and finally escaped. Ha ha ha, Black God Armor Stone, that's great. The great ancestor of blood was extremely excited. He had only heard of this treasure, but had never seen it. Even in the God Armor realm, the Black God Armor Stone is very rare. If you want to snatch the Black God Armor Stone from the high-level immeasurable beings in the God Armor realm, you have to kill them. Therefore, there are too few great ancestors in the Xuanqi realm who possess the Black God Armor Stone. This guy is so lucky. The great ancestor of Xinghai was crazy with jealousy. This time, he was completely helpless, and he couldn't even hurt him. Of course, the great ancestor Biao Shui couldn't hurt him either. But a piece of Black God Armor directly erased the gap between the great ancestor of blood and him, and this was the value of the Black God Armor. The great ancestor of blood was shrouded in a ray of light and instantly teleported to the 6th floor of the ruined stone pagoda. And after the great ancestor of the blood created the inferior and immeasurable body secret technique, Yi Tian finally created a superior and immeasurable body secret technique. This time, he was ahead of the other high-level immeasurable beings. Chapter 2348 Taihao Immeasurable Body. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. When Yi Tian hooked up with the ruined stone pagoda and showed his superior mystic technique of immeasurable body, the ruined stone pagoda recognized it, and soon gave Yi Tian a benefit. 10 Black God Armor Stones landed in Yi Tian's hands, attracting the attention of other high-level immeasurable beings, and even the great ancestor of the Black Sea was jealous. How could he get the reward of 10 Black God Armor Stones? The great ancestor of Xinghai did not understand. Yi Tian is just a second-stage high-level immeasurable life form, and he has fallen behind many times before. Why did he suddenly pass quickly this time? And he also received 10 Black God Armor Stones as a reward. Does this have something to do with the ruined stone tower? The great ancestor of Xinghai and other high-level immeasurable beings still wanted to buy a Black God Armor Stone from Yi Tian, but Yi Tian had already been sent to the 6th floor of the ruined stone pagoda by a beam of light. However, Yi Tian knew very well that he was definitely being targeted. When he leaves the stone tower of the ruins, he is afraid that he will be besieged. However, the combat power of his cloned body is comparable to that of a powerful third-stage high-level immeasurable life form. If he wears the defensive armor formed by the Black God Armor Stone, his life-saving ability is still strong. Even if the great ancestor of Xinghai wanted to kill him, it would take some effort. A ray of light enveloped Yi Tian. The next moment, Yi Tian entered the 6th floor of the ruined stone pagoda. The 6th floor of the ruined stone tower. When Yi Tian came here, great ancestor Bai Shui cast his gaze. It turned out to be you. I thought it was the great ancestor of Xinghai. The great ancestor Bai Shui said in surprise. Yi Tian did not speak, but was accepting the message from the 6th floor. But at this moment, great ancestor Biao Shui stared at Yi Tian carefully, as if he wanted to confirm something. It shouldn't be him, the great ancestor of blood said secretly. Because of the difference in willpower, he saw the great ancestor Xuanming and felt a sense of familiarity. After careful investigation, he found that the immeasurable body on the great ancestor Xuanming and Yi Tian belonged to the same immeasurable body, and the breath was close, indicating that the cultivation infinity is almost the same. But the aura of will is different, which means that the great ancestor Xuanming is not a clone of Yi Tian. However, the great ancestor Xuanming was Yi Tian's duplicate body, which was beyond the understanding of great ancestor Biao Shui, so he still did not recognize it. The 6th floor actually gave benefits directly. After Yi Tian received the message, he was surprised. Because the 6th floor is used to improve the boundless will, the stone level in front of you is the treasure of increasing the boundless will, and you can withstand the baptism of an inexplicable force by walking on it, thus greatly tempering the boundless will. Of course, if you go to the end, you can still get benefits. A total of 999 stone steps. Yi Tian glanced at it and muttered. At this moment, great ancestor Biao Shui was sitting cross-legged at the place where there were more than 300 stone steps, and did not continue to move forward. Obviously, his limit should be there. According to the requirements of the ruined stone pagoda, if you want to enter the 7th floor, you only need to enter the 600 stone steps. Of course, even if you can't enter, it doesn't matter, you can always practice on the 6th floor of the ruined stone pagoda. That is to say, from today onwards, Yi Tian can always come to the 6th floor of the ruined stone pagoda and regard it as a cultivation treasure. Even if you can't enter the 7th floor, this treatment alone is very good. Yi Tian thought to himself. Immediately, he stepped into the first stone steps. Boom! A total of inexplicable power acts on Yi Tian's boundless will, and this force makes Yi Tian's boundless will like entering a stone mill to continuously grind and temper. In fact, in the high-level immeasurable beings, it is more difficult for the immeasurable will to continue to improve, and Yi Tian's immeasurable will is not much worse than the third-stage peak existence like the great ancestor of blood. I saw Yi Tian set foot on the higher stone steps step by step. He did not stop. After all, the higher the number of stone steps, the better the tempering effect. 10 stone steps, 20 stone steps, 100 stone steps. When Yi Tian arrived at the 301st stone step, he finally reached the limit, and there was no way he could go any further, otherwise boundless will couldn't bear it, and he would still be forcibly squeezed down. Just practice here. Yi Tian sat cross-legged and began to actively cater to this force to temper his boundless will. This kind of practice is more powerful than the effect of swallowing most of the resources. And when Xuanming Daozu's cloned body was cultivating on the 6th floor of the ruined stone pagoda, Yi Tian had no restrictions, he was trying to create the Mahayana infinite body. If the Mahayana infinite body is created and then the Mahayana infinite body is trained, his strength will also usher in a transformation. Katakana middle dot for flowers. So, in the following years, Yi Tian started to create the immeasurable body with all his strength, and abandoned other practices. Time flies, and time flies by quickly. On the 6th floor of the ruined stone pagoda, other ancestors gradually appeared, such as the Xinghai Great Ancestor. Your name is Xuanming Great Ancestor, I want to trade some Black God Armor Stones from you. The Great Ancestor of Xinghai said in an orderly tone. Not interested in trading, Yi Tian refused directly. This refusal annoyed the Great Ancestor Xinghai. Do you know who I am? I am the 6th place on the boundless blood list in the Xuanqi territory, great ancestor Xinghai, with my strength, I can kill you countless times with just a wave of my hand. Quote. 0. However, Yi Tian ignored the great ancestor Xinghai and continued to practice. Seeing this, the great ancestor of Xinghai decided to kill Yi Tian directly after Yi Tian left the ruined stone pagoda, and directly snatch his 10 black god armor stones. As for his reputation, he didn't care. After all, 10 black god armor stones are enough to make him not care about his reputation. This is a treasure that greatly improves his combat power. Even the 4th stage high-level immeasurable life forms will care, and he naturally cares more. Another period of time has passed, the number of people on the 6th floor of the ruined stone pagoda is slightly larger, and Yi Tian's boundless will is not an advantage among this group of 3rd stage high-level boundless beings, and it can even be said to be in the bottom line. But Yi Tian doesn't care about this anymore. Anyway, he can practice here all the time, there is no need to go out. Before you know it, the first year of 50 million worlds has passed. This is a relatively long time for ordinary ancestors. This day, Yi Tian finally created his own Mahayana infinite body, and he created the most suitable Mahayana infinite body according to himself. And he also named this Mahayana immeasurable body the Taihao immeasurable body, because the name of the immeasurable picture was actually called the Taihao too. And after Taihao's immeasurable body is trained, the effect is that the defense is terrifying, and it contains terrifying blood, and the body of flesh and blood will be strengthened to an unimaginable level. Chapter 2349 Golden God Armor. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. Although Taihao's immeasurable body is incomparably powerful, it is not easy to train it initially. However, the initial training of the Taihao immeasurable body requires a large amount of Heilu Tianjin and Yi Jinsha, so that the Taihao immeasurable body can be cultivated to the entry level. In addition to Heilu Tianjin and Yi Jinsha, a variety of precious materials are also needed, some of which Yi Tian does not have much quantity. Although substitutes can be used, they also need to be purchased in large quantities. So, Yi Tian spent some time copying other bodies to find trades with each chamber of commerce, and in a short period of time finally gathered enough resources to cultivate Taihao's immeasurable body to the entry-level stage. Then copy the body when you haven't started to practice the infinite body, and cultivate the Taihao infinite body. Yi Tian secretly said, this is equivalent to rebuilding, other great ancestors can't do it at all, but Yi Tian can easily do it with 250. Boom! A large amount of material was swallowed by Yi Tian's body, and turned into a stream of energy to temper the whole body according to the way of Taihao's immeasurable body. Originally, with his body replicating cultivation, many materials could not be refined or even sustained, but under the cultivation and absorption of Taihao's immeasurable body, these resource materials could only be refined by him. Years passed by. After a long time, Yi Tian finally completed the preliminary training of Taihao's immeasurable body and entered the entry stage. After that, he began to rebuild this body and recast his life. Before, the number of times of his life recast was 12 times, but this time he broke the shackles and carried out 13 life recasts, and the potential of his foundation was far greater than before. Since there is no shortage of resources, Yi Tian quickly re-entered the high-order immeasurable life form, and then quickly condensed flesh and blood, and condensed the immeasurable bones, and stepped into the second stage of the high-order immeasurable life form. Afterwards, Yi Tian discovered that after cultivating the Taihao immeasurable body, it was easier for him to carry out the boundless bone limit tempering, and the resources spent were less. Even though the immeasurable bones condensed now are not as good as before, the combat power is stronger. The 6th floor of the ruined stone tower. The 388th stone steps. Yi Tian has already reached here at this moment, but the great ancestor of blood and the great ancestor of Xinghai have already reached the 400th floor. In terms of the speed of progress, he was just a little better than great ancestor Biao Shui and the others. After all, when it comes to tempering the boundless will, his copy body has no advantage. However, he is not in a hurry. After all, he has been cultivating here, and sooner or later he can reach the 600 stone steps. At that time, he will be eligible to enter the 7th floor of the ruined stone pagoda. However, some big figures in Xuanqi territory are also discussing the situation of the ruined stone pagoda. Xuanqi Pavilion. The 6 high-level immeasurable beings in the 4th stage are discussing the meeting. The ruined stone pagoda was born. What should you do? Naturally try to occupy the ruined stone pagoda. In terms of grade, the ruined stone pagoda is not much worse than the Xuanqi mountain in our Xuanqi Pavilion. Moreover, after a previous war, Xuanqi Mountain was severely damaged, and now it is not as good as the ruined stone pagoda. The relic stone tower can be transformed into our new headquarters. The relic stone pagoda is still in the protection period of the relic, which will threaten the existence of the relic stone pagoda and cannot enter the interior of the relic stone pagoda at all. We, the 4th stage high-level immeasurable beings, can't enter if we want to enter. As for forcibly breaking the relic stone pagoda, occupying its origin, the general 5th stage high-order immeasurable beings cannot do it. We in Xuanqi Pavilion only have 1 5th stage high-order immeasurable beings, that is, the Great Pavilion Master, but we have long been looking for breakthrough opportunities. I can't get in touch now. Even if the big Pavilion Master of our Xuanqi Pavilion is still there, forcibly breaking the ruined stone pagoda will bring heavy damage to the ruined stone pagoda, so it's meaningless. Send more high-level immeasurable lifeforms in the 3rd stage. According to what we know, once you enter the 9th floor, there is hope to refine the relic stone tower. Therefore, let them enter the 9th floor at all costs. Not only Xuanqi Pavilion, many forces are also talking about the same topic. Obviously, the major forces in Xuanqi territory still attach great importance to the ruined stone pagoda. Another time passed. At this time, the ruined stone pagoda was completely stabilized, and it also opened up the channel of the God Armor realm, completely connecting the Xuanqi realm and the God Armor realm. Of course, the great ancestors of Xuanqi territory could not enter the realm of God Armor, nor could the ancestors of the realm of God Armor enter the Zero realm of Xuanqi, unless they occupy the ruined stone pagoda and obtain permission, they can enter and leave freely. This day, a high-level immeasurable lifeform from the God Armor realm entered the ruined stone tower, and slowly entered the 2nd and 3rd floors from the 1st floor. However, the strength of the Divine Armor realm is indeed weaker than that of the Xuanqi realm, and there are not many high-level immeasurable life forms in the 3rd stage. After all, there are probably only 1 or 2 high-level immeasurable beings in the 4th stage of the entire Xuanqi realm. The overall strength is too weak and the resources are scarce, so the 3rd stage immeasurable beings that are too evil cannot be born. Therefore, most of the high-level immeasurable beings in the Divine Armor realm were eliminated in the 1st layer, and only a few high-level immeasurable beings could enter the 3rd layer. But in the end, there are still high-level immeasurable beings from the Divine Armor realm that entered the 6th floor. A high-level immeasurable lifeform wearing golden defensive armor stepped into the 6th floor, attracting the attention of many great ancestors. The defensive armor formed by the golden God Armor stone. 1. All the great ancestors were secretly surprised. It's him, great ancestor Xuanyan. The great ancestor of blood and the great ancestor of Xinghai recognized this high-level immeasurable being, and it was the 3rd stage high-ranking being ranked 1st in the immeasurable blood list in the Divine Armor realm. Its true strength is naturally 5.9, not as good as the great ancestor of Xinghai, but it has defensive armor formed by the golden God Armor, which is more than 10 times stronger than the defensive armor formed by the black God Armor. Even if a group of top 3rd stage high-level immeasurable lifeforms besiege the great ancestor Xuanyan, they would not be able to kill him. In the 3rd stage, the high-level immeasurable life form, no one can kill the great ancestor Xuanyan. Relying on the defensive armor formed by the golden body armor and stone, plus his own strength is strong enough, in every meeting period, the great ancestor Xuanyan robbed a lot of resources from Juyu Shuiyuan. The great ancestor Xinghai and great ancestor Xuanyan have played against each other many times, and the great ancestor of blood before being sealed has also played against great ancestor Xuanyan who has not yet grown up. Therefore, they are fairly familiar with each other. Chapter 2350 Out of Bounds Alliance. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. After the great ancestor Xuanyan entered the 6th floor of the ruined stone pagoda, he did not have any conflict with great ancestor Xinghai and the others, and he also walked to the stone steps step by step. But in the end, he only reached the position of Yi Tian, and could no longer move forward. After all, he didn't deliberately raise boundless will before, and it was the first time he came here, so the level of boundless will was similar to the current Yi Tian. In fact, not only him, many 3rd stage high-level immeasurable beings are thinking about how to condense immeasurable blood, and naturally they will not spend time and resources to enhance immeasurable will. At the 3rd stage of the high-level immeasurable life form, raising a little immeasurable will cannot enhance the strength, unless the immeasurable will undergoes a qualitative change. But how difficult it is to make qualitative changes, so those high-level immeasurable life forms have temporarily given up. If every high-order immeasurable lifeform is doing its best to improve the boundless will, there will definitely be a 3rd stage high-order immeasurable lifeform that has reached the 600 stone steps and successfully entered the 7th floor. But today, there is no such high-level immeasurable life form. As time passed, Yi Tian walked up the 6th floor of the ruined stone pagoda one stone step after another, and each time he progressed, he could go up a few steps. 29. In the outside world, Yi Tian is also quickly using the resources in his hands to condense the boundless bones, temper the boundless bones, and cultivate the boundless body of Taihao. Heilu Tianjin can assist in the cultivation of Taihao boundless body, and he still has enough Heilu Tianjin in his hand, which is enough to cultivate Taihao boundless body to the realm of small achievement. But even the Taihao immeasurable body of the small achievement realm far surpasses the infinite body of the perfection realm. The Mahayana immeasurable body is far from being comparable to the superior immeasurable body, the gap is really too big. And really lacking resources, Yi Tian will find a way to trade with some forces, such as Cantilevered Heaven Pavilion and other forces, to trade the resources he needs, and then merge them into higher-level resources. In this way, Yi Tian condensed more and more immeasurable bones, and Taihao's immeasurable body was also progressing rapidly. And the long years passed, Yi Tian was still limited by the reason of his cultivation, and the boundless will began to progress slowly, unable to keep up with the progress of Great Ancestor Xinghai and Great Ancestor of Blood. After all, they are already high-level immeasurable beings in the 3rd stage, and it is easier to improve immeasurable will. The boundless will limit of the 2nd stage high-order immeasurable beings is naturally not as high as the boundless will limit of the 3rd stage high-order boundless beings. When he enters the 3rd stage, it will be easier to improve the boundless will. This day, Yi Tian suddenly discovered that an outsider had come to the 6th floor of the ruined stone pagoda. This outsider is definitely not a high-level immeasurable life form in Xuanqi territory, but from a certain world outside Xuanqi territory just like him. At this moment, the outsider was covered in black robes, and his breath was hidden, as if there was no space between heaven and earth. However, many ancestors can still sense a little bit of the outsider's breath, and infer something. The great ancestor of Ghost Shadow of the Outer World Alliance, I didn't expect you to come too. The great ancestor of Xinghai snorted coldly. Obviously, he was very unhappy with the Outer Boundary Alliance and the great ancestor of Ghost Shadow, which could be seen from the tone of voice. The great ancestor of Xinghai, long time no see. The great ancestor Ghost Shadow said hello. However, the great ancestor of Xinghai did not continue to pay attention to the great ancestor of Ghost Shadow. The great ancestor of Ghost Shadow. Yi Tian doesn't know this great ancestor, but he has seen the boundless blood list, and the great ancestor Ghost Shadow is impressively ranked number 26, perhaps not as good as the great ancestor of Xinghai. However, the list can only be used as a reference, and at their level, the difference in rankings does not mean that there is a big gap in strength. What is the Outer Alliance? Yi Tian was a little curious. Immediately, his other cloned bodies went to investigate, and it didn't take long to find the Outer Boundary Alliance. The Outer Alliance is strictly an Outer Alliance force. It was weak a long time ago, but now this alliance is getting stronger and stronger, but after it becomes stronger, it also becomes complicated, that is, it is not united. At present, the Outer Boundary Alliance is roughly divided into 6 factions, each faction is like a force, and the factions seem to be one force, but in fact they are not one. The great ancestor of Ghost Shadow is very famous, he is the grandfather of the Void faction of the Outer Boundary Alliance. The overall strength of the Outer Boundary Alliance is now stronger than Xuanqi Pavilion, but a single faction is not as good as Xuanqi Pavilion. Xuanqi Pavilion is a real power, and it is extremely ancient, so its cohesion is not comparable to an alliance outside the world. In addition, the foundation of the Outer Boundary Alliance is not in Xuanqi territory, so it is impossible for them to work hard. If the Outer Boundary Alliance fights against a force like Xuanqi Pavilion, the Outer Boundary Alliance will definitely be beaten to pieces and flee, and no great ancestor will really do his best for the Outer Boundary Alliance. I didn't expect that outsiders would have established such a large force in Xuanqi territory. Could it be that the overlord of the virtual whale also regards me as the ancestor of a certain faction of the Outer Boundary Alliance? Yi Tian secretly said, it is precisely because of this fear that the overlord Xu Mijing dare not have any thoughts about him. After all, the Void Whale Overlord is like an ant in the eyes of the Outer Boundary Alliance, and it is not worth mentioning at all. According to the information obtained, the foundation of the Outer Boundary Alliance is not in the Xuanqi territory, and they can even withdraw 250 points at any time. Therefore, the major forces in the Xuanqi territory do not know much about the hidden strength of the Outer Boundary Alliance. Even between the Outer Boundary Alliance factions, the great ancestors of the Out of Bounds alliances do not necessarily know each other. Some of the Out of Bounds Alliance patriarchs were trained outside the realm of Xuanqi, so I can completely pretend to be the Out of Bounds Alliance patriarch. Yi Tian thought to himself. This time, he was going to let his real body copy his body into the ruined stone pagoda. He felt that the 7th, 8th and 9th floors of the ruined stone pagoda definitely had good things. And the 9th floor is the core, it is the connection point connecting the Xuanqi realm and the God Armor realm. The ruined stone pagoda has another 9 floors, and now it has broken into the divine armor realm. If it is used to develop power, after occupying the ruined stone tower, the 10th to 18th floors can be used to cultivate members or become the residence of the ancestors. Moreover, the 9th floor over there is not spied on by Xuanqi territory, it is the most suitable for developing members and it is extremely hidden. When the real body copy body has grown up, go to the ruined stone tower. The immeasurable will of the real body copy body is more pure and powerful, and the potential of the physical body far exceeds that of the Xuanming ancestor's copy body, even if it is used to break through the 6th floor, is much faster than the great ancestor Xuanming. Yi Tian secretly said, and just like that, another time passed. Chapter 2351 The ancestors were shocked. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. During this period of time, Yi Tian consumed an unknown amount of resources, and finally condensed 300 immeasurable bones again, and all of them were tempered to the limit. Of course, the time he spent was much less than at the beginning, which was also due to Taihao's immeasurable body. And he also used a lot of Heilu Tianjin to cultivate Taihao's immeasurable body to the realm of small achievement, making his physical body far surpass himself who practiced the infinite body before. With the combat power of this cloned body, I can easily suppress even a 3rd stage high-level immeasurable lifeform like the Void Whale Overlord. Yi Tian muttered, when his strength has reached this step, it will take more time to improve in the future, so he is going to go directly to the ruined stone pagoda of Juyu Shuiyuan. Ruined stone tower. Yi Tian traveled all the way to this place. Although he was spied on by many great ancestors, they did not dare to attack Yi Tian. And Yi Tian also blessed all kinds of immeasurable ancestral gifts that concealed and changed the breath, and wore many treasures, making him extremely mysterious. Yi Tian entered the ruined stone pagoda, and quickly entered and passed through layer after layer. For him, the first 5 floors of the ruined stone pagoda already have no secrets, so he quickly met the conditions one by one, and the speed was unbelievable. In a blink of an eye, he entered the 6th floor, without the slightest idea of staying on the first 5 floors. And he passed the first 5 floors so quickly, which directly made the other great ancestors bewildered. 6th floor. When Yi Tian's real body clone arrived, it attracted the attention of countless high-level life forms. It's him. The great ancestor of blood recognized Yi Tian at a glance, but the breath of boundless will could not be completely changed. But he showed a puzzled look, because Yi Tian was very different from before, at least based on his realm, it could be seen that Yi Tian's immeasurable body is different from before. The unending great ancestor told me before that it was his clone, could it be that this is his body? The blood ancestor thought, it is also normal that the main body and the avatar practice different immeasurable bodies. Even if it is a superior and immeasurable body, there are strong and weak points, and sometimes the gap is very large. A superior body of immeasurable body that is better for the main body practice, and a superior immeasurable body that is almost practiced by the clone, so the cost of cultivating the clone is less. From this point of view, it is reasonable. Reasonable as, his clone foundation is so strong that even me can't match it, he must have invested unimaginable resources, and it doesn't look like a clone at all. The great ancestor of blood said secretly. But the current Yi Tian is very powerful, so even he can't see much. Yi Tian had no idea of talking with the great ancestor Oxue. Now the great ancestor Oxue was a bunch of enemies. If he talked to the great ancestor Oxue, he would definitely be in trouble. At this moment, great ancestor Xinghai and the others are guessing Yi Tian's identity. They have never seen Yi Tian, but Yi Tian's outsider's aura cannot be concealed, so they think that Yi Tian must be a member of the Outer Boundary Alliance. I have never seen this great ancestor. Ancestor Ghost Shadow thought to himself. However, there are several factions in the Outer Boundary Alliance, and it is normal that he does not know about the hidden ancestors of other factions. But even if it is the ancestor of other factions, what is the use of sending a second stage high-level immeasurable life form here? No matter how evil Yi Tian is, his boundless will cannot reach a certain level, so he can't reach the 600 stone steps, and he can't enter the 7th floor. The goal of the Outer Boundary Alliance is also very clear, that is, to enter the 9th floor and find a way to refine the Relic Stone Pagoda, thus occupying the Relic Stone Pagoda and occupying one more relic for the Outer Boundary Alliance. Forget it, it's just a great ancestor at the stage of immeasurable bones, there is no need to pay attention. The great ancestor of Ghost Shadow withdrew his attention and continued to practice and refine his boundless will. However, it won't be long before these high-order immeasurable beings will be shocked by Yi Tian. Tread. Yi Tian walked to the first stone steps, and then went up step by step. Yi Tian's immeasurable will is the same between the cloned body, any one of the cloned body is improved, the others will be improved. But the great ancestor Xuanming is not a clone of the real body, so the immeasurable will of the great ancestor Xuanming is not the same as Yi Tian's own immeasurable will. Today, the immeasurable will of the great ancestor Xuanming's copying body is a little worse than Yi Tian's own immeasurable will. I saw that Yi Tian quickly reached the same number of stone steps as the great ancestor Xuanming's copying body, and then passed by in one step. After a while, Yi Tian reached the 400th stone step. Let's temper the boundless will here first, Yi Tian decided. Then, he began to temper his boundless will. Sure enough, the tempering effect of this body is even better than that of the great ancestor Xuanming's copying body. 1. Yi Tian secretly said. At this rate of progress, it is only a matter of time before he surpasses the boundless will of the great ancestor Xinghai. The so-called realm constraints were not established here, and Taihao's immeasurable body was enough to break the constraints of realm. As the years passed, Yi Tian kept advancing from the 400th stone steps. At the beginning, great ancestor Xinghai and the others didn't care about Yi Tian, but when Yi Tian gradually approached them, they were completely shocked. Who is this guy? Xinghai Da produced a strong color. And the great ancestor of Ghost Shadow is also extremely shocked. There really is such a monstrous great ancestor in the Outer Boundary Alliance. Why hasn't he heard of it? It seems to be the most hidden genius of a certain faction, but why is it exposed now? Unless he is really sure of capturing the ruined stone tower, how is this possible? Ancestor Ghost Shadow thought. But after another period of time, Yi Tian walked to the stone steps where he was, and he did not have such doubts. It's really possible for this guy to take the relic stone tower. It's so evil. Ghost Li's shadow great ancestor secretly said. It is a pity that Yi Tian is not his faction, otherwise he must know. The great ancestor of Ghost Shadow, your alliance outside the world is really powerful, and you can cultivate such a high-level immeasurable life form. At the stage of immeasurable bones, immeasurable will is enough to match us, and his foundation is too strong, and his breath is not at all like it. Infinite bones are high-level immeasurable life forms that can radiate. This ancestor should be the most enchanting existence in your alliance outside the world. I didn't expect it to be exposed this time, Xinghai great ancestor said. I don't know anything, and I have never seen this great ancestor. Ghost Shadow ancestor said. Humph, Xinghai great ancestor naturally doesn't believe in Ghost Shadow great ancestor's nonsense, but he can't do anything at this moment, he can't kill Yi Tian here. Moreover, if Yi Tian was really cultivated by the Outer Boundary Alliance at all costs, once he was killed, it would cause a war between Xuanqi Pavilion and the Outer Boundary Alliance. This was not something he could decide. G. Chapter 2352 Infinite Will Lake. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. Before you know it, the first year of the 10,000 realms has passed. At this time, the great ancestor of Xinghai, great ancestor of blood, and great ancestor of Ghost Shadow were all very close to the 500th stone step, and Yi Tian was also very close to the 500th stone step. In addition, the major forces have also sent in a lot of high-level immeasurable lifeforms, and there are nearly 30 strong people on the immeasurable blood list gathered on the 6th floor, all standing in the position of more than 400 stone steps. For them, once they reach the 500th stone step, there is hope to reach the 600th stone step. Only when they reach the 600th stone steps could they enter the 7th floor. If you can't even enter the 7th floor, you are naturally not qualified to enter the 9th floor and capture the ruined stone pagoda. This day, the great ancestor of Xinghai suddenly got up and immediately left the ruined stone tower. This scene made many high-level immeasurable lifeforms puzzled, and they did not understand why the great ancestor of Xinghai left the 6th floor of the ruined stone pagoda. Soon, other high-level immeasurable lifeforms also left from the 6th floor of the ruined stone pagoda. Ancestor Biao Shui frowned, but quickly guessed the reason. However, he didn't care that he continued to temper the boundless will here, and did nothing. 250. Xuanqi Pavilion Headquarters. The great ancestor Xinghai came back and immediately met the great ancestor Xuanqin, one of the 4th stage high-level immeasurable beings in Xuanqi Pavilion. The great ancestor Xuanqin entered the 4th stage long ago, and now he has walked a distance in the 4th stage. His strength far surpasses that of the great ancestor of Qinghai, and his prestige shocks the entire Xuanqi domain. At the same time, the great ancestor Xuanqin is also one of the 6 deputy pavilion masters of Xuanqi Pavilion, and his status is naturally not comparable to the great ancestor of Qinghai. I have seen Pavilion Master Xuanqin. Qinghai great ancestor said quickly. He was summoned by the great ancestor Xuanqin, so he came out of the ruined stone pagoda immediately. The great ancestor of Qinghai, how many stone steps are you on the 6th floor of the ruined stone pagoda? Great ancestor Xuanqin asked. 483 stone steps. Qinghai great ancestor said. It's still a long way from the 600 stone steps, and you are not the one with the fastest progress. If you continue at this speed, there may be multiple ancestors who will walk to the 600th step before you, and then enter the first step. 7th floor. We don't know the situation of the 7th, 8th and 9th floors. If the difficulty CJFJ is not big and they reach the 9th floor soon, then you have no hope of competing with them for the relic stone tower. Said the great ancestor Xuanqin. Pavilion Master Xuanqin, why did you call me back this time? Although the great ancestor of Qinghai had some guesses in his heart, he still asked. At this time, great ancestor Xuanqin took out a purple fruit and handed it to great ancestor Qinghai. This is Ziji Dao heart fruit. The great ancestor of Qinghai recognized it at a glance, and the average great ancestor would not provoke this treasure, because the value of this treasure is comparable to the entire net worth of some third-stage high-level immeasurable beings. The key point is that Ziji Dao Xingguo is too difficult to obtain. As far as he knows, only a small amount is available in a certain mysterious place. Even Xuanqi Pavilion has to pay a certain price to obtain it. And the role of the Ziji Dao Xingguo is to enhance the boundless will, which is most suitable for the third-stage high-level boundless beings. Under normal circumstances, Xuanqi Pavilion would not pay a large price to obtain the Ziji Dao heart fruit, because it is not necessary, and increasing the infinite will not improve much combat power. Therefore, using the Ziji Dao heart fruit to enhance the boundless will is purely a waste. Unless it happens to be in a bottleneck state and needs the Ziji Dao heart fruit, then the Ziji Dao heart fruit will be obtained at all costs. Right now, the great ancestor of Qinghai has not yet reached the point of using the Ziji Dao heart fruit. The great ancestor of Xuanqin, Xuanqi Pavilion is going to let me refine the Ziji Dao Xingguo. Qinghai great ancestor asked. Yes, ancestor Xuanqin said. Not only the Ziji Dao Xingguo, but also some other resources will be allocated to you, but it is not free. If you are unable to capture the ruined stone pagoda, then you will be required to repay these in the future. Resources to Xuanqi Pavilion. I see, the great ancestor of Qinghai said excitedly. Then go to retreat and practice, wait for the limitless will to reach a certain standard, and then go to the 6th floor of the stone pagoda of the ruins, then it is possible to break the shackles and condense the lake of limitless will. The great ancestor Xuanqin ordered. Infinite will lake. The great ancestor of Qinghai naturally knew that this bottleneck faced by countless high-level immeasurable beings was probably the standard for entering the 600 stone steps on the 6th floor of the stone pagoda of will. For high-level immeasurable beings like them, once the immeasurable will reaches a certain limit, if it is broken again, it will condense the immeasurable will lake, causing the immeasurable will to undergo a qualitative change. At that time, the strength will also be improved, but it is extremely difficult to achieve this step. In addition, after condensing the lake of infinite wills, it will also increase the odds of hitting the 4th stage, but there will be no high-level immeasurable life forms to condense the lake of infinite wills, because there are no massive resources. It is impossible to do in the 3rd stage. Even a force like Xuanqi Pavilion wants to cultivate a 3rd stage high-level immeasurable life form that has condensed the lake of immeasurable will. Afterwards, the great ancestor of Qinghai went to retreat. And in the entire Xuanqi realm, not only the great ancestor of Qinghai, but also many top 3rd stage high-level immeasurable beings are all improving their immeasurable will with the help of their respective forces. It is conceivable that after a few years, once these great ancestors enter the 6th floor of the ruined stone pagoda, they will definitely approach the 600 stone steps. Many great ancestors have gone out from the 6th floor, and it seems that with the help of the forces, they are working hard to improve their boundless will. Yi Tian secretly said. Of course, he also knew that even a top force like Xuanqi Pavilion would only try his best to cultivate one great ancestor, and would not cultivate a second one. The same is true for other forces, and they will not cultivate a second great ancestor. Except for the Outer Boundary Alliance, those factions are afraid that they will each cultivate one, and they will not work together to cultivate one. As for some weaker forces, they would not be competitive. Even if they did their best to cultivate their ancestors, they would not be able to compare with the top forces such as Xuanqi Pavilion and the Outer World Alliance. I doubt. I have no power to help, I can only do it myself. At present, I am too far away from condensing 365 immeasurable bones. If 165 immeasurable bones are condensed and tempered to the limit, I can go to the third stage. Condensed a drop of blood. Once the blood is blood, you can't improve it. Moreover, I repair. I am refining the Taihao immeasurable body, and the improvement I have obtained by breaking through the realm is incomparable to other great ancestors, and my boundless will may help me directly enter the 600th stone step. Yi Tian thought so. Chapter 2353 The Breakthrough of the Great Ancestor of Extreme Yang. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. Years go by. Yi Tian has condensed one immeasurable bone after another, and he is condensing and refining the immeasurable bones with all his strength, just to condense all the 365 immeasurable bones as soon as possible, and then temper them to the limit. It can be said that at this time, everyone is in a hurry, and it depends on who is the first to reach the 600th stone steps and successfully enter the 7th floor of the ruined stone pagoda. The 310th immeasurable bones. The 320 immeasurable bones. The 330 immeasurable bones. Yi Tian is getting closer and closer to condensing 365 immeasurable bones, and he consumes more and more resources, but he can still support it. However, the resources he traded finally supported him until he broke through to the third stage. After all, he naturally wasted a lot of resources in order to practice quickly. In addition, every immeasurable bone is tempered to the limit, and the resources spent are naturally unimaginable. This day, the great ancestor of Xinghai and the great ancestor of Ghost Shadow entered the 6th floor of the ruined stone pagoda again. It seems that their power has been cultivated. Yi Tian secretly said. He was also curious whether these great ancestors could walk directly to the 600 stone steps on the 6th floor of the ruined stone pagoda. I saw the great ancestor of Xinghai, great ancestor of Ghost Shadow and the others kept advancing, walking one stone step after another, and in a short time they reached the 599th stone steps, only one last step away from the 600 stone steps. Stone steps. However, no matter how hard they tried, this stone step did not cross the past. Therefore, these great ancestors sat cross-legged here, enduring the tempering of the inexplicable power on the 6th floor of the ruined stone pagoda. It seems that the ancestors of Xinghai still haven't crossed the last step. Yi Tian secretly said. However, they are only a short distance away from taking the last step. If they continue to practice here for a period of time, there is still hope to break the shackles. Yi Tian is not in a hurry, he is still cultivating very calmly. Even if he can't be the first to step into the 600 stone steps, that's fine, anyway, he doesn't have much desire. For him, this time, entering the ruined stone pagoda to obtain the inheritance of the immeasurable map and creating the immeasurable body of Taihao is already the greatest opportunity. If you can get more benefits by entering the 7th, 8th, and 9th floors, it is naturally better, but it is not necessary to enter first. After a while, suddenly a vortex appeared on the 599th stone steps of the 6th floor of the ruined stone pagoda, and in the vortex was the limitless will condensed to the extreme. Immediately, the eyes of the great ancestors were attracted to the past. It's him. Many great ancestors have recognized it, and it is the great ancestor Zhiyong who produced such visions. The great ancestor of Zhiyong is the first high-level immeasurable being on the boundless blood list in Xuanqi territory. His strength is stronger than that of the great ancestor of Xinghai, otherwise he would not be ranked first on the boundless blood list. Moreover, he is also a member of Zhuyanghai in Xuanqi territory, with a profound background. The strength of Zhuyanghai is stronger than that of Xuanqi Pavilion after its decline, enough to rank among the top 3 forces in Xuanqi territory, and to master more than a dozen ruins, which is not comparable to Xuanqi Pavilion at all. Now, with the help of Zhuyanghai, the great ancestor Zhiyong has improved his boundless will, and with the tempering of the 6th layer power of the ruined stone pagoda, he has finally broken the shackles of boundless will. The great ancestor of extreme Yang is about to condense the lake of boundless will. An ancestor exclaimed. Condensing the lake of immeasurable will is the dream of many third-stage high-level immeasurable beings, but it is too difficult, so they gave up and did not pursue to improve the immeasurable will. Therefore, Xuanqi territory has not produced a third-stage high-level immeasurable life form that has condensed the immeasurable will lake for a long time. For many great ancestors, it is the first time they have seen the third stage of high-level immeasurable beings condensing the immeasurable lake of will. Likewise, Yi Tian is also the first time. This is the lake of boundless will. 1. Yi Tian can feel that the boundless will of the great ancestor Ji Yang is undergoing an unimaginable transformation, and the boundless will is evolving towards a higher level. Once the transformation is over, the boundless will of the great ancestor Extreme Yang will far exceed the present. Damn, this guy actually broke through first. The great ancestor of Xinghai was not convinced. He has always been suppressed by the great ancestor Extreme Yang, and many great ancestors like to compare him with great ancestor Extreme Yang. After all, they both belong to great ancestors of the same era, and they are all on the boundless blood list. Ask for flowers. It's a pity that he has never surpassed great ancestor Jiang. I thought that this time there was hope to surpass the great ancestor Extreme Yang, but I did not expect great ancestor Extreme Yang to enter the ruined stone pagoda, but took the lead in condensing the Lake of Infinite Wills and was about to enter the 600th stone step. Boom! The boundless will of the great ancestor of Extreme Yang slowly transformed and ended, forming a lake of boundless will somewhere in his body. His own boundless extreme domain also transformed, and its power skyrocketed. At this moment, great ancestor Ji Yang's strength increased again. Immediately, great ancestor Ji Yang stepped into the 600th stone steps. At this moment, the ruined stone pagoda gave Ji Yang great ancestor a benefit. 0. A black flower emerged and landed on the hand of great ancestor Ji Yang. Black Sun 9 Spirits Flowers. Xinghai great ancestor is jealous, this is his dream treasure. A high-level immeasurable being at a stage like him condenses 12 immeasurable blood, which is to use blood to temper the whole body. This process involves tendons, acupoints, internal organs, brain and so on. However, all of them must be successfully tempered once to be considered a real breakthrough, and this process is very difficult. If you rely on yourself, you may not be able to succeed countless times. The Heiyangju Lingua is one of the very few treasures that can help the third stage high-level immeasurable life form improve the success rate, and it can increase the probability by 20%. In addition, he also collected a small amount of void gold water, which can also increase the probability of 1 or 2%. Coupled with other treasures, his hope of breaking through is greatly increased. At that time, he will dare to attack the fourth stage of the high-level immeasurable life form. After the great ancestor Ji Yang received this Black Sun 9 spiritual flower, he was directly transferred to the 7th floor of the ruined stone pagoda. Maybe I can get such a treasure too, Xinghai great ancestor thought. Therefore, he strives to make a breakthrough as soon as possible, and condenses the lake of boundless will. The other side, Yi Tian's cloned body is finally about to completely condense the 365th infinite bone. Once it is successfully condensed, and then the last limitless bone is tempered to the extreme, you can try to break through the third stage of the corpse. Chapter 2354 Breakthrough, Condense Immeasurable Blood. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. Boom, the last immeasurable bone was condensed by Yi Tian. At this time, he vaguely felt that the immeasurable bone in his body was going to undergo some subtle changes, but it was still a little bit worse. It seems that the last limitless bone still has to be tempered to the limit. Yi Tian thought to himself. Immediately, he took out some Heilu Tianjin and began to temper his last immeasurable bone. As time passed, this last limitless bone was tempered to become stronger and stronger. In the end, the last immeasurable bone was also thoroughly tempered to the limit by Yi Tian. At the moment of refining to the limit, Yi Tian's 365 immeasurable bones echoed each other, creating some kind of special attraction, releasing a silvery white light that turned his body into a large silver cocoon. After a long time, the large silver cocoon on Yi Tian's body shattered, and a body that was perfect to the limit came out of 250s. And at this moment, Yi Tian's body was nearly twice as powerful as before. I didn't expect that there is such a benefit in tempering all the bones of the whole body to the limit. The physical body is directly doubled, which is twice the original limit. Yi Tian muttered. Not only that, he also felt that there was a mysterious power in the depths of his body. This power is similar to the source power of supernatural powers, but it has not yet formed, just a seed of imprint. Could it be the seed of the infinite divine ability? Yi Tian had some guesses in his heart. Of course, even if it is the seed of the infinite divine ability, it is currently impossible to derive the true infinite divine ability, and it will only be possible to derive the infinite divine ability after he has advanced to the 5th stage of a high-level immeasurable being. Of course, if the seeds of immeasurable magical powers are formed, it will be much easier to hit the 5th stage in the future, but before that, there will be no special effects. This should be a kind of secret, I wonder if those top forces know it. Yi Tian thought to himself. But even if they knew it, they couldn't say it, otherwise the value of a treasure like Heilu Tianjin would become higher, which would be unfavorable for those top forces to buy it. And even the top power, it is difficult to cultivate a great ancestor who has tempered the limitless bones to the limit, that is, Yi Tian can fuse the seafloor gold to form the seafloor sky gold, so he dares to do so. Besides, among the countless great ancestors of Xuanqi territory, very few can finally become the 4th stage, let alone the 5th stage. Therefore, even in the 2nd stage, the whole body is tempered to the limit, and it does not make much sense. After all, for those big forces, if they have this resource, it is better to train dozens, hundreds or even thousands of genius ancestors separately. There is no need to concentrate on one ancestor, and the benefits obtained are not proportional, any meaning. Afterwards, Yi Tian spent some years to completely stabilize the cultivation base at the limit of the limitless bone stage. Next, he began to condense a huge amount of blood. With Yi Tian's current background, even without the help of Heilu Tianjin, he is sure to condense the first drop of immeasurable blood. However, it is natural to use Heilu Tianjin. After all, it is easier to break through with Heilu Tianjin, and the boundless blood condensed is more perfect. Then, Yi Tian used a large amount of Heilu Tianjin to attack the 3rd stage, condensing the first drop of blood. For Yi Tian, the 3rd stage was not difficult at all, and the whole process went smoothly. Boom! With the gathering of massive energy, Yi Tian's body finally condensed the first drop of blood. The birth of this drop of immeasurable blood exudes an incomparably terrifying aura, which is enough to make it difficult for the 2nd stage high-level immeasurable life forms to stand. However, soon after, the 2nd drop of blood, the 3rd drop of blood. More and more immeasurable blood was condensed by Yi Tian, and after the final breakthrough process, Yi Tian had already condensed more than 30 drops of immeasurable blood. This is because his foundation is too strong, so he condensed so much blood in one breath when he broke through. As for a high-level immeasurable life form like the Void Whale Overlord, it is not bad to be able to condense a drop of immeasurable blood. With the breakthrough to the 3rd stage, Yi Tian's flesh and blood body is also transforming, becoming more and more powerful, completely breaking the previous shackles and stepping into another level. And with the breakthrough, Yi Tian's boundless will is also increasing, although it is an incidental improvement, but the rate of improvement is not low. It didn't take long for Yi Tian's boundless will to reach a certain limit, and it seemed that he was about to transform to another level, but suddenly stopped abruptly, and he was only one step away from breaking through completely. It seems that my boundless will is infinitely close to the level of condensing the lake of boundless will. Yi Tian thought to himself. He felt that it should not take long for him to completely condense the lake of boundless will. The 6th floor of the ruined stone tower. Not long after Yi Tian went out, he came back. At this moment, his cloned body has also become a high-level immeasurable life form of the 3rd stage. I saw him walking towards the 600th stone step by step, completely shocked the other great ancestors. The mysterious great ancestor of the Outer World Alliance has entered the 3rd stage so quickly, and his boundless will seems to have improved a lot. Xinghai great ancestor secretly said. The great ancestor of Ghost Shadow also watched Yi Tian and felt it was incredible, because at this moment Yi Tian had already reached the 590th stone steps, and he was still walking upwards, as if there was not much pressure. According to this rhythm, even if you can't reach the 600 stone steps, you should be able to reach the 999th stone steps. Could it be that his faction secretly cultivated him with all his strength? The great ancestor of Ghost Shadow said secretly. However, these great ancestors should not have thought that Yi Tian was relying on himself, not a certain force, nor a member of the Outer World Alliance. Soon, Yi Tian stood on the 599th stone steps, and he did not continue to walk, so he knew that he could not reach the 600th stone steps without condensing the lake of infinite will. After 5.9, Yi Tian practiced on the 599th stone steps, tempered his boundless will, and strived to condense the boundless will lake. Originally, Yi Tian was infinitely close to the level of condensing the lake of infinite wills, and even the total amount of infinite wills had already exceeded the limit, but due to insufficient external pressure, he could not completely condense the lake of infinite wills. But at this moment, the external pressure is enough, so his boundless will has begun to change, and it will not be long before the lake of boundless will is condensed. It seems that I will be in the shadows, I will do one before us, condense the lake of infinite will. Yi Tian thought to himself. As predicted, on this day, Yi Tian's boundless will began to change, and the outside world produced boundless will vortex, which immediately attracted other great ancestors, and they all came to watch. Chapter 2355 Yinheng Tianzu. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. This mysterious ancestor actually condensed the lake of infinite will, and he broke through to the third step of the high-level infinite life form. The great ancestors were extremely shocked. At this time, even the great ancestor of Xinghai and the great ancestor of blood had to admit that Yitian was too evil. Although only Yitian's immeasurable will level can be seen at present, some things can be seen from the immeasurable will level in the slightest aura he reveals. Obviously, Yitian is far from an ordinary high-level immeasurable life form, and its combat power is absolutely terrifying, even if the condensed immeasurable blood is not much, but the real combat strength is not much worse than them. With the passage of time, Yitian's infinite will lake gradually condensed, and the infinite will has undergone earth-shaking changes. Boom, the lake of infinite wills condensed out completely, and Yitian's strength also changed, becoming stronger than before. My strength is very strong now, at least several times stronger. 29 Yitian murmured in his heart. Immediately, he tried to walk to the 600th stone steps, and this time he walked up easily. The benefits given by the ruined stone pagoda fell into Yitian's hands, and it was a small silver token. What is this? After seeing it, many great ancestors were puzzled. They didn't know this token, but it didn't look like a precious treasure. However, after seeing the silver token, the great ancestor of blood and the great ancestor of Xinghai, they pondered for a while and had some guesses in their hearts. Could it be that thing? When they thought of the origin of this thing, their expressions changed drastically. This is not an ordinary thing, but it involves a great opportunity, but it is not useful to them at present, even if it is snatched, it is meaningless. Xuanqi Pavilion, an incarnation of the great ancestor Xinghai immediately reported to the great ancestor Xuanqin. The great ancestor of Xuanqin, the token of Yin Hengtian ancestor was born. Xinghai great ancestor said, Yin Hengtianzu's token was born. Are you sure? Xuanqin patriarch was surprised. Yes, I saw it at the ruined stone pagoda. Xinghai great ancestor said. The ruined stone pagoda. The great ancestor of Xinghai was a little surprised. How can the ruined stone pagoda have the token of Yin Hengtianzu? It should have been placed in the 9 nether blood abyss, and then picked up by the ruined stone pagoda, which ended up in the ruins. Among the stone towers. 1. Ancestor Xuanqin, should we, Xuanqi Pavilion, take action to snatch that token? Xinghai great ancestor asked. He doesn't need the token of Yin Hengtianzu, but Xuanqi Pavilion needs it. This thing is valuable to the 5th stage high-level immeasurable life forms. The great ancestor Xuanqin was silent for a while, and then shook his head. No, now that mysterious great ancestor has obtained the token of Yin Hengtianzu, this matter is estimated to have spread. If we snatch it, even if we get that token, I don't dare to use the token. With the strength of Yin Hengtianzu, I can understand everything in an instant. When the time comes, we will be angry with our Xuanqi Pavilion. That's not a good thing. The great ancestor of Xinghai nodded slightly. The current Xuanqi Pavilion really can't offend Yin Hengtian ancestor, even if there is only a slight possibility, they will not dare to take the risk. Moreover, if they really dared to take action, then other forces would dare to snatch the token from Xuanqi Pavilion, so that they would not offend Yin Hengtianzu. Give it up, even if I get that token, it won't necessarily benefit me. Xuanqin Dazu Dao, I see, the great ancestor of Xinghai replied. The 6th floor of the ruined stone tower. Yitian got this token, but he didn't know what it was used for. After he put it away, he was sent to the 7th floor by the ruined stone pagoda. As soon as he entered the 7th floor of the ruined stone pagoda, Yitian saw great ancestor Extreme Yang. Great ancestor Ji Yang was a little surprised when he saw Yitian. He didn't expect that the second person to enter the 7th floor of the ruined stone pagoda was Yitian. He thought it was someone on the infinite blood list. Of course, he didn't think too much, and immediately ignored Yitian. At this time, Yitian received some information about the 7th floor of the ruined stone pagoda and learned about the situation on the 7th floor. The 7th floor of the ruined stone pagoda is also known as the brand layer, where some brand marks between heaven and earth are stored. Of course, they are all traces of Juyu Shuiyuan, but the traces that are eligible to be included in the ruined stone pagoda are bound to be incomparably powerful imprints, and the lowest is the traces of infinite extreme domain skills. And if you want to benefit from the 7th floor, you must practice a limitless extreme field skill. The 3rd stage high-level immeasurable lifeform wants to practice an immeasurable extreme field skill. This is a bit difficult. Yitian thought to himself. Of course, he had already practiced a limitless extreme field technique, so it would not be very difficult for him to practice another limitless extreme field technique. The 7th floor also has a time limit. Each great ancestor can only choose one brand to comprehend. The time is 30 million years of the first year of the world. Once the comprehension fails, he will be kicked out and will never be able to enter the 7th floor. However, the 6th floor can still be entered, and it is regarded as a treasure land for cultivation. Yi Tian briefly glanced at it. There are a total of 13 imprint traces stored here, and they are all traces of immeasurable extreme domain skills, but some are very weak, and some are extremely strong. Just choose this infinite extreme 250 skill. Yi Tian decided. The immeasurable extreme domain technique he chose was a kendo boundless extreme domain level, and it was also the most powerful of these boundless extreme domain skills, and the difficulty of cultivation was naturally higher. Although the traces of the immeasurable extreme domain skills were branded on the ruined stone pagoda, it was difficult to comprehend, and the inheritance that Yi Tianhua Montenegrin received was even more difficult. After all, the infinite territory technique that truncates Montenegro is an inheritance, and this is not an inheritance, so it will be very difficult to comprehend it. However, the major forces in the Xuanqi realm all have some treasures to assist them in enlightenment. Yi Tian found a place and began to comprehend this kendo limitless extreme technique silently. This kendo limitless extreme field skill is somewhat incomplete, and it is not complete. Even if it is really practiced, its power is greatly reduced, and its potential is not large. It seems that the same is true for other limitless extreme field skills, and the potential for cultivation is too poor, is not comparable to a complete inheritance. Moreover, in the future, there is no way to continue to improve. Yi Tian thought to himself. But after all, this is just the imprint of the relic stone tower, and the requirements cannot be too high. As the years passed, Yi Tian slowly comprehended, and after a period of time, the great ancestor of Xinghai and the others finally condensed the Lake of Infinite Wills one by one and stepped into the 7th floor of the ruined stone pagoda. Chapter 2356. The first one shocked the audience. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. But after entering the 7th floor of the ruined stone pagoda, they were completely desperate. It is too difficult to practice a limitless extreme technique. In the Xuanqi realm, the powerhouses who master the limitless extreme field skills are almost all high-level limitless beings of the 4th stage. Even among the high-level immeasurable beings on the immeasurable blood list, only less than 10 have successfully practiced the immeasurable extreme technique. For example, the great ancestor of Xinghai, great ancestor of Jiang, they have practiced the infinite extreme field skills, and this is the name of the Xuanqi realm, crushing other great ancestors of the same rank. However, it took them countless years to cultivate a limitless extreme technique. It is almost impossible to cultivate a limitless extreme field skill in just 30 million years of the first year. Shish! The great ancestors left from the 7th floor of the ruined stone pagoda. They had to use the forces behind them, otherwise it would be impossible for them to succeed. In a blink of an eye, more than 800,000 years of the first year have passed. Now, Yi Tian practiced this kendo immeasurable extreme domain skill with the help of replicating bodies, and also scrapped the replica body many times, but in the end he still practiced this kendo immeasurable extreme domain technology. No eternal sword. This is the name of this kendo limitless extreme field skill. For Yi Tian, the power of Wuang sword is quite good, but when he breaks through to the 4th stage, this limitless extreme technique will not be of much use. On the contrary, the truncation of the finger, the power will continue to increase, even if it reaches the 4th stage, it will have a strong boost. It's done. Yi Tian showed his Wuang sword to the ruined stone pagoda, and was immediately recognized by the ruined stone pagoda. The ruined stone pagoda immediately gave Yi Tian a benefit. I saw a blood-red fruit appeared on Yi Tian's hand, exuding a fragrance that shocked many great ancestors. The 7th strange fruit in the Xuanqi territory, immeasurable red blood fruit. The great ancestor Jiyong was surprised. The other great ancestors looked over one after another, all showing greedy expressions. This is a treasure that is unimaginable in the entire Xuanqi realm. It is a red blood immeasurable fruit. Once swallowed, it can greatly enhance the potential of the physical body, and even increase the probability of breaking through to the 4th stage by 30%. It is said that the infinite scarlet blood fruit is even useful to the 4th stage high-level immeasurable beings, and there is a certain chance of hitting the 5th stage hope, but it requires enough scarlet blood infinite fruit, and just one will not help much. But even so, a red blood immeasurable fruit is enough to make the 4th stage high-level immeasurable life form to take action. Yi Tian also recognized the scarlet blood immeasurable fruit and knew very well that there were quite a few great ancestors staring at the scarlet blood immeasurable fruit. For some forces, this scarlet blood immeasurable fruit was enough to create a 4th stage high-rank immeasurable fruit, life form. I have attracted enough attention, and if I add a red blood immeasurable fruit, I will definitely be besieged, eat it directly. Yi Tian thought to himself. So, in front of many great ancestors, he devoured this red blood immeasurable fruit in one bite. Damn it, the great ancestor Ji Yong secretly said regretfully. If it was given to him, he would dare to hit the 4th stage now, and it would be a 100% breakthrough. The great ancestor of blood is also a little regretful. It is a complete waste to eat such a good thing now. After all, Yi Tian has only just broken through to the 3rd stage, and there is still a big gap to reach the 4th stage. Boom, the scarlet blood infinite fruit is refined by Yi Tian all the time, and the boundless bones of the whole body are absorbing the energy of the scarlet blood infinite fruit. At this time, Yi Tian discovered that the seed imprint of the immeasurable divine power technique inside his immeasurable bone was growing, and he was rapidly evolving and improving with the energy of the red blood immeasurable fruit. According to this growth rate, even if I can't form a true immeasurable magical power, maybe I can use this power. Yi Tian secretly said. At this moment, a ray of light enveloped him and sent him to the 8th floor of the ruined stone pagoda. This is also the first time that he has entered a higher level ahead of other great ancestors, and this achievement alone is enough to make him famous in the entire Xuanqi realm. After Yi Tian left the 7th floor, the group of great ancestors began to discuss. This great ancestor is too enchanting. How long has it been since he practiced a limitless extreme technique? It's incredible, this talent is terrifying. Why wasn't I the one who practiced the limitless extreme technique? The great ancestor of blood was also extremely surprised. He knew that Yi Tian was an incomparable evildoer at the beginning, but he did not expect that the evildoer would reach this level, completely crushing the great ancestor of the entire Xuanqi domain. Unfortunately, I can't pass the 7th floor, I have to find a chance to get away. The great ancestor of blood said secretly. For him, the benefits obtained from the ruined stone pagoda this time are enough. As for capturing the ruined stone pagoda, he has no hope at all, and naturally he has no such idea. The 8th floor of the ruined stone tower. When Yi Tian came here, he immediately received a message from the ruined stone pagoda and learned about the situation on the 8th floor. The 8th floor is a sea of blood, and in this sea of blood flows immeasurable blood, and it is pure immeasurable blood after being extracted by the relic stone tower, and immeasurable blood that can be absorbed and refined by high-level immeasurable beings. Of course, without the strength of the 3rd stage of cultivation, it is impossible to step into this place at all, otherwise the physical body cannot withstand the power of boundless blood. This should be the countless blood that has flowed out from the battle in the 9 nether blood abyss or the divine armor realm for a long time. It was absorbed by the ruined stone pagoda and gathered here. Yi Tian muttered. For him, this is a treasure, which can greatly reduce the time for him to condense countless blood. However, the immeasurable blood of this treasure seems to be a lot, but in fact it is not much. The amount of blood turned into a sea of blood, strictly speaking, it is just that immeasurable blood please. There is no assessment in this level, there is only reward, infinite blood is reward, there is no absorption limit, how much can be absorbed. If the ancestors in front had absorbed and refined, then the latecomers would have no benefit at all. I saw Yi Tian submerge directly into the sea of blood, and began to absorb the blood of the sea of blood. This kind of refined blood is very easy to absorb, and it only contains blood energy without any imprint, so there is no problem in absorbing it. Yi Tian quickly absorbed the immeasurable blood and then condensed the immeasurable blood that belonged to him. The immeasurable blood was condensed drop by drop, and then began to refine the immeasurable blood, trying to improve the quality of the immeasurable blood. It's just that using this kind of blood to temper one's own blood and improve its quality is too slow. So, Yi Tian took out some void gold water to temper his own blood, so that the effect of improvement would be much faster. Chapter 2357 Touching the Origin of the Relic Stone Tower. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. Since Yi Tian is carrying out the limitless tempering of immeasurable blood to improve the quality of immeasurable blood, he needs to consume a lot of immeasurable blood. As time passed, the amount of blood on the 8th floor of the ruined stone pagoda decreased at a speed visible to the naked eye. If those high-level immeasurable lifeforms entered the 8th floor later, it is estimated that they would not be able to enjoy the benefits of immeasurable blood. Of course, high-level immeasurable beings like the Great Ancestor of Xinghai and Great Ancestor of Blood, who have already gathered 129,600 drops of immeasurable blood, do not need to condense immeasurable blood. Even if they entered the 8th floor, they would only use the immeasurable blood here to temper their immeasurable blood, making the quality of immeasurable blood slightly higher, which would not be of much help to their strength. In fact, the 8th layer is also attractive to the high-level immeasurable life forms that have not completely condensed the immeasurable blood. Another period of time has passed. At this time, Yi Tian has condensed 10,000 drops of immeasurable blood, and it is still the limit tempering, and the quality has been improved to the limit. According to the division of Xuanqi's realm, the quality of immeasurable blood can be divided into low grade, medium grade and high grade. In general, the high-level immeasurable life forms of the 3rd stage, their immeasurable blood quality is only equivalent to inferior, while Yi Tian's immeasurable blood is superior. Certainly, if there is not enough void gold water, Yi Tian can't refine 10,000 drops of immeasurable blood to the upper limit now. It's a pity that the void golden water is not enough. Yi Tian muttered, 250 without void gold water, he would not be able to quickly quench immeasurable blood, so no matter how much immeasurable blood condensed, it would be meaningless. After all, what he pursues is the ultimate tempering, not blindly pursuing the amount of blood. Forget it, immeasurable blood will condense to 129,600 drops sooner or later, let's go to the 9th floor first. 1. Yi Tian decided, there is no requirement for the 8th floor to enter the 9th floor, and he can enter the 9th floor at any time. Yi Tian's body left the 8th floor of the ruined stone pagoda and came to the 9th floor of the ruined stone pagoda. The 9th floor of the ruined stone tower. Yi Tian came here and saw a purple light bordering a red light in nothingness, showing a special state. Yi Tian watched it for a while and saw a clue. The purple light represents the rules of the God Armor realm, while the red light represents the rules of the Xuanqi realm. This is the area where the Xuanqi realm and the God Armor realm meet. Because the ruined stone pagoda runs through the Xuanqi territory and the divine armor realm, the ruined stone pagoda also withstands the pressure from the two realms so that its own origin cannot be completely concealed. If it can pass through the place where the purple light and the red light meet, it is possible to touch the origin of the ruined stone tower. At that time, you only need to refine a part of the source, you can take charge of the ruined stone tower and occupy this ruins. Yi Tian is also a little interested in occupying the ruined stone pagoda. If he occupies such a ruined stone pagoda, although he will be the target of public criticism, he will gain more benefits. Swish! Yi Tian rushed to the place where the red light and the purple light meet, and as soon as he entered this area, he felt a huge pressure. At this moment, it seems that the pressure of the two worlds is not only acting on the ruined stone pagoda, but also acting on him. Sure enough, it's not that easy to refine the relic stone tower. Even if you enter the 9th floor, but you don't have strong strength, you still can't refine the relic stone tower. 1. Yi Tian muttered. However, he was quite confident in his own strength. Originally, his strength was very strong, and he refined so much blood on the 8th floor, making himself condensed 10,000 drops of blood, and all of them were subjected to extreme tempering, becoming the highest limit of blood. Therefore, his strength has been greatly improved on the 8th floor of the ruined stone pagoda. Now, he thinks that his strength is afraid that he will surpass Xinghai Great Ancestor and the others, so he thinks that he is the Great Ancestor who is most likely to obtain the ruined stone pagoda. Boom! Yi Tian stepped into the depths of the red light and purple light junction area step by step, and the physical body was hard to shake the pressure in the dark. In the beginning, he didn't even fully activate Taihao's boundless body, but when he got to the back, he had to open it, and even the boundless extreme Dao domain was compressed around his body to the limit, bearing the pressure around him. At this time, the suppression here is enough to cause the fleshy bodies of some powerful third-stage high-level immeasurable beings to shatter into powder. Yi Tian kept walking and didn't know where the origin of the ruined stone pagoda was. Time passed slowly, just when Yi Tian was almost unable to bear it, he finally sensed the aura of the origin of the ruined stone pagoda. I finally sensed it, although there is still some distance, but be careful, go slowly, you should be able to hold on. Yi Tian murmured. The 8th floor of the ruined stone tower. With the help of their own forces, Great Ancestor Xinghai and Great Ancestor Jiyong finally created a limitless extreme field technique. Although it is an extremely weak limitless extreme field technique, it still meets the requirements. Immediately, they entered the 8th floor of the ruined stone pagoda one by one, and the time was almost the same. That mysterious ancestor is not on the 8th floor. Great Ancestor Jiyong frowned. Although the immeasurable blood on the 8th floor of the ruined stone pagoda helped him to temper his own immeasurable blood and improve the quality of immeasurable blood a little bit, it was of little overall significance. It is almost unrealistic to want to refine and improve all the blood of the whole body here. Go directly to the 9th floor. The Great Ancestor Jiyong decided. The forces he belonged to paid an unimaginable price to help him, and finally let him enter the 8th floor, not here to practice. His purpose is only one, and that is to seize the relic stone tower. Now that Yi Tian has gone to the 9th floor, he naturally cannot stay on the 8th floor. Then, the anode is the large L layer, while the U layer is the layer. In a short time, 7 or 8 high-level immeasurable beings gathered on the 9th floor of the ruined stone pagoda. They not only represent themselves, but also represent the top powers. Damn, this mysterious ancestor is already trying to get close to the origin of the ruined stone tower. The great ancestor of Xinghai said angrily. The great ancestors have already rushed to the area where the red light and the purple light meet, chasing Yi Tian one by one, but they are also under great pressure and must go all out to be able to bear it. The great ancestor of Xinghai was also extremely confident in his own strength, but it didn't take long for his expression to change. Because he was about to be unable to carry it, the same was true for several other high-level immeasurable beings, only the great ancestor Ji Yang could continue to persevere and was still walking deeper. Impossible, I'm not as good as the great ancestor of Extreme Yang, how can it be even worse than the great ancestor who has only become a 3rd stage high-level immeasurable being? Xinghai great ancestor secretly said. Immediately, he found a reason for himself. That mysterious ancestor must have failed and left the stone tower of the ruins. However, he knew very well that if Yi Tian left the ruined stone pagoda, the top powers would have known it long ago, and he would also receive information. But now, Yi Tian has not been seen to leave at all, which proves that Yi Tian is still here. Therefore, his thoughts can only comfort himself. No, I have to ask the great ancestor Xuanxin for help, at least let me withstand the pressure here. 1. Xinghai great ancestor thought, he still has hope and can't give up. Chapter 2358 revealing the immeasurable body of Mahayana, scaring away the great ancestor of extreme. Xinghai great ancestor asked Xuanqi Pavilion for help, but Xuanxin great ancestor of Xuanqi Pavilion can only give Xinghai great ancestor some treasures to increase his strength and resist the suppression of the 2 worlds. They also want to do their best to help the great ancestor of Xinghai, but if they are still unable to capture the ruined stone pagoda, they have nothing to do. With the passage of time, some great ancestors gave up, and it was really impossible to get close to the source of the ruined stone pagoda. So, they returned to the 8th floor, hoping to absorb more blood and make up for some losses. The deepest part of the area where the red light and the purple light meet on the 9th floor of the ruined stone pagoda is where the origin of the ruined stone pagoda lies. At this moment, Yi Tian has really touched the origin of the remained stone pagoda, but if he wants to truly enter the origin, he naturally cannot, but he also does not need to enter the origin of the remained stone pagoda. The origin of the relic stone pagoda is under the suppression of the Xuanqi territory in the divine armor realm. This part of the origin leaks out, and it is difficult to suppress it back. I only need to refine this part of the origin, and then I can master part of the authority of the relic pagoda, and slowly refine it in the later stage. It's enough to turn the stone tower of the ruins. Yi Tian thought to himself. Therefore, he sat here, covering this part of the source with his own power, and slowly began to refine the power of these sources. However, his strength is still limited, so the refining speed is too slow. I am afraid that it will take a long time to refine successfully. Take it easy, Yi Tian secretly said. However, in a place not too far away from him, a high-level immeasurable life form is slowly approaching. This is the great ancestor of Extreme Yang. At this moment, great ancestor Ji Yang has also exerted all his strengths, marching forward under unimaginable pressure with his incomparably powerful body. With every step, the void shattered, and the surrounding red light and purple light were disillusioned. It's too difficult. That high-level immeasurable being who has only broken through to the 3rd stage has really come to an end. Does he have a special treasure that can resist the pressure here? Great ancestor Ji Yang was a little puzzled. He didn't think much, but continued walking. He didn't believe that Yi Tian could easily refine the source of the ruined stone pagoda, so he still had hope of capturing the ruined stone pagoda. Not long after, he finally sensed the original aura of the ruined stone pagoda, and finally discovered Yi Tian. He is refining the origin of the stone tower of the ruins. The great ancestor Ji Yang was about to stop Yi Tian immediately. Boom! A token that seals the power of the 4th stage high-level immeasurable life form appeared and protected him. But the power of the ruined stone pagoda is also suppressed, because the ruined stone pagoda does not allow the power of the 4th stage to appear here, otherwise it will trigger its instinctive suppression. Click! The token was broken, but great ancestor Ji Yang took the opportunity to cross a certain distance and came to Yi Tian, reducing the time to travel. Immediately, a piece of protective treasures appeared, increasing the strength of the great ancestor Ji Yang, which could ensure that he could exert a certain strength here. At this time, Yi Tian also stopped refining the source of the stone pagoda, and faced the great ancestor of Extreme Yang. He knew very well that if he couldn't stop the great ancestor of Extreme Yang, he couldn't feel at ease refining the origin of the stone pagoda. The great ancestor of the Outer World Alliance, please get out of the way, this relic stone pagoda is the relic of our Xuanqi territory. The great ancestor Ji Yang firmly believed that Yi Tian was the great ancestor of the Outer Boundary Alliance, so he was very unhappy with Yi Tian. In these long years, the Outer Boundary Alliance has seized many relics in the Xuanqi territory. Relying on these relics, the Outer Boundary Alliance has developed rapidly, and even Xuanqi Pavilion does not dare to provoke it easily. Therefore, he did not want this relic stone tower to fall into the hands of the Outer Alliance again. Outside Alliance, Yi Tian smiled secretly. He knew that he was misunderstood, but he was willing to be misunderstood, so that others would only regard him as the great ancestor of the Outer Boundary Alliance, and would not investigate his true identity, saving some trouble. Let's fight. Yi Tian is too lazy to talk nonsense. 3. The great ancestor Extreme Yang's fighting spirit is boiling. As the #1 powerhouse on the infinite blood list, he is naturally extremely confident in his own strength. Not to mention that Yi Tian broke through the 3rd stage of immeasurable blood not long ago. Even if he really gathered 129,600 drops of immeasurable blood, he still had full confidence to defeat Yi Tian. 10 Realms of War. Boom! The aura of the great ancestor Ji Yang suddenly soared, and he completely inspired his superior immeasurable body, that is, the 10 Realms battle body, and 10 boundless stalwart worlds appeared behind him. This world is like a primitive ancient sea, incredibly powerful. In fact, these are indeed 10 mysterious worlds like the original ancient sea, and the 10 World War body is to extract the power of these 10 worlds from the underworld to bless itself, thus erupting terrifying combat power. For flowers, the 10 Realms battle body is also one of the top 3 most excellent and immeasurable body secret techniques in the Xuanqi territory. Then, the great ancestor of Extreme Yang held a spear made of Heilu Tianjin and many precious things, and used a limitless extreme, dark extreme. This blow is enough to instantly kill the powerful 3rd stage high-level immeasurable beings. Even the high-level immeasurable beings like the great ancestor of blood will be severely damaged by a single blow. It is estimated that only the great ancestor of Xinghai can withstand it, but he also has to be injured. Facing this terrifying blow, Yi Tian was very calm. 0. Boom! Taihao's immeasurable body erupted, which shocked the great ancestor of Jiang. Then, Yi Tian displayed a truncated finger and pointed to it. Collapse. The dark pole of the great ancestor of Extreme Yang was directly disintegrated, and the powerful truncation finger was still not blocked. One strike penetrated the defenses of great ancestor Extreme Yang, and even the boundless extreme realm was penetrated, and finally the attack was the great ancestor Ji Yang flew off, causing him to be slightly injured. The great ancestor Ji Yang stepped back again and again, stepping back and stepping on many voids. Your strength. Great ancestor Ji Yang was stunned. He actually fell into a disadvantage. How is this possible? Moreover, the immeasurable body that Yi Tian showed is not too high, but it is much more terrifying than him. This is definitely not a superior immeasurable body. You have become the immeasurable body of Mahayana. Are you the great ancestor of Taichan Palace? The great ancestor Ji Yang exclaimed. In the entire Xuanqi realm, it is estimated that only Taichan Palace has a complete immeasurable map and is capable of cultivating it. Even if it is Xuanqi Pavilion, it is rumored that there is a complete immeasurable map from the outside world. Mahayana Infinite Body. It is also unlikely that the Outer Boundary Alliance will have the Mahayana Immeasurable Body inheritance. Only the Taichan Palace has the Mahayana Immeasurable Body inheritance, and it seems that there are more than one. It's just that the number of great ancestors in Taichan Palace is very rare, and they do not have contact with the outside world, so even he knows very little. Yi Tian did not explain, but continued. Do you still want to fight? Great ancestor Ji Yang's complexion changed many times, but he finally gave up and immediately escaped the corpse. Chapter 2359 Heavy damage to the ancestors of Xinghai. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. Great ancestor Ji Yang retreated, and he was naturally seen by great ancestor Xinghai and the others on the way back. The great ancestor Ji Yang has left. Could it be that he still can't reach the origin of the stone pagoda of the ruins, so he went back to find a way? Xinghai great ancestor thought. He never thought that the great ancestor of Extreme Yang was defeated by Yi Tian, so he retreated. Soon, the great ancestor of Extreme Yang came out of the ruined stone pagoda. 9 Suns Sea. After the great ancestor Jiang came back, he immediately informed the 4th stage high-level immeasurable life form of the Juyongsi about the situation on the 9th floor of the ruined stone pagoda, the great ancestor of the eastern wilderness. The Mahayana infinite body. The great ancestor of the eastern wilderness frowned slightly. Being able to cultivate a Mahayana infinite body means that the origin of the opponent is not simple. Even if it is not the great ancestor of Taichin Palace, it is also from the forces outside the world that surpass the 9 suns sea. There may even be some disciples of a strong person like Yinheng Tianzu, otherwise they will not be able to contact the Mahayana immeasurable body at all, and they will not be able to cultivate into the great 250 vehicle immeasurable body. The great ancestor of the eastern wilderness, now I have to find a way to go to the 9th floor of the ruined stone pagoda. In terms of strength, I should be weaker than the opponent, but not too weak. If Juyonghai gives more cards, I hope to defeat the opponent, said great ancestor Jiang. However, the great ancestor of the eastern wilderness shook his head. Give it up, the other party's origin is not simple, and if you want to defeat the other party, Juyonghai can't do it at present. It's just a relic. If it is lost, it will be lost. In these long years, there are not 1 or 2 relics that Juyonghai has not snatched, so there is no need to be too persistent. 1. Yes, great ancestor Jiyong replied. In this way, Juyonghai gave up fighting for this relic stone pagoda. The 9th floor of the ruined stone tower. The Xinghai great ancestor and the others are still insisting, and after spending a period of time, they finally arrived at the location of the source of the ruined stone pagoda. At this time, the great ancestor of Xinghai sensed the existence of Yi Tian. Sure enough, he's here, Xinghai great ancestor secretly said. And Yi Tian also sensed the existence of Xinghai great ancestor and the others, and couldn't help frowning slightly. It's really troublesome, there are a few more great ancestors. Yi Tian shook his head secretly, and immediately pointed to it, displaying the amputating finger. Boom! The terrifying truncation finger spans a certain distance and points directly at the great ancestor of Xinghai. The great ancestor Xinghai's expression changed, and he instinctively used all the defenses, and the boundless extreme realms were sacrificed, turning into an invisible defensive wall, and punching him with a punch. This punch gathered the strength of Xinghai great ancestor's whole body, and also contained the strength of the Lake of Infinite Will, so this was a blow that surpassed his past peak. However, in the face of Yi Tian's cut-off finger, the power of the great ancestor of Xinghai is still not enough. Tear. Layers of defenses were pierced, and even a defensive treasure on the Xinghai great ancestor, second only to the defense of the Black God armor, was still cracked. And the great ancestor of Xinghai himself was beaten to pieces, and a drop of blood spilled into the void, infecting this area. Seeing the situation of the great ancestor of the Xinghai Sea, the other great ancestors quickly retreated one by one. Impossible. The great ancestor of Xinghai couldn't believe it. Even the great ancestor Extreme Yang couldn't hurt him like this with a single blow, let alone a high-level immeasurable being who had just broken through to the 3rd stage. He is definitely a blow that broke out desperately, and he can't use it anymore. The great ancestor of Xinghai comforted himself. So, he broke out all the means to kill the past, and revealed all kinds of trump cards, making his aura stronger and stronger, and his injuries were recovering quickly. Court death. Yi Tian was also annoyed, and stopped refining the source of the stone pagoda of the ruins, and turned to attack the great ancestor of Xinghai with all his strength. Boom! Yi Tian and Xinghai great ancestor fought here. From the very beginning, Yi Tian completely crushed Xinghai great ancestor. No matter how many trump cards the great ancestor of Xinghai has, it doesn't make any sense. Collapse. The great ancestor of Xinghai was beaten until his body was constantly shattered, a drop of blood was annihilated, and countless bones were shattered and turned into ashes. Soon, the Xinghai great ancestor's injury was quite serious, and it was impossible to recover quickly. At this time, great ancestor Xinghai also calmed down. He knew that he was not Yi Tian's opponent. What if he fell here? Moreover, when the 4th stage high-level immeasurable life form could not come in, the 4th stage high-order immeasurable life form of Xuanqi Pavilion could not rescue him. Escape. The great ancestor of Xinghai used an escape treasure to escape quickly. And Yi Tian didn't go after him. He knew that he couldn't kill the great ancestor of Xinghai in the ruined stone pagoda. Once he left this area, he couldn't do anything, otherwise he would be suppressed by the ruined stone pagoda. That is to say, it was suppressed by the forces of the 2 worlds, so that the rules of the ruined stone pagoda were also suppressed. Only this level of battle would not attract the attention of the ruined stone pagoda. Furthermore, it is impossible for him to give up the refining relic stone pagoda. With the escape of the Xinghai great ancestor, the other great ancestors were stunned. Although their strength is not weaker than that of Xinghai Great Ancestor, there are even one or two Great Ancestors whose strength is still above Xinghai Great Ancestor. However, after seeing Yi Tian's combat power, they knew that they were not opponents, and they could barely compete against Yi Tian unless they went together. Let's go. They gave up, knowing that they had little hope of going to the ruined stone pagoda, and they saw that Yi Tian had become a Mahayana infinite body, so his identity was definitely not simple. After considering many factors, they chose to leave. These great ancestors left, Yi Tian also felt at ease refining the ruined stone pagoda. Xuanqi Pavilion. The great ancestor Xinghai came back with his injured body, and went to meet the great ancestor Xuanqin as soon as possible. Grand ancestor Xinghai, are you injured? The great ancestor Xuanqin was a little puzzled. The great ancestor of Xinghai nodded slightly. I was injured by the mysterious great ancestor of the ruined stone pagoda. The strength of the other party is even stronger than that of the great ancestor of extreme Yang. He has already cultivated a Mahayana infinite body, and his body is incredibly powerful. Because of my physical quality, he is definitely the great ancestor who carried out the ultimate tempering at the boundless bone stage, and he also masters the complete boundless extreme territory technique. The immeasurable body of the Mahayana, the limitless tempering at the stage of immeasurable bones, this is not the great ancestor that ordinary forces can cultivate. Could it be the Taichan Palace? The great ancestor Xuanqin also thought of Taichan Palace. Even if it is not Taichan Palace, there are other forces outside the world that are no less than Taichan Palace. Such forces are not easy to provoke. If the other party can send Yi Tian, it means that there is a channel to enter Xuanqi territory. Who dares to provoke? Ancestor Xuanqin, what should I do now? 5.9 inches. Xinghai Great Ancestor asked. The Great Ancestor Xuanqin sighed and said, give it up. According to my understanding, the Juyanghai side should also give up. You can't beat that mysterious Great Ancestor, so give up. 1. Immediately, he changed his voice again. However, even if the mysterious ancestor sees the relic stone tower, he may not be able to hold it. If the forces behind him do not send strong men to guard, the forces who want to recapture the relic stone tower will not be able to. There are few, and there are forces who don't understand the situation. They may take action against the mysterious ancestor, and then there will be a good show. The great ancestor of Xinghai nodded slightly, and immediately went back to heal his injuries. Gradually, Yi Tian occupied the source of the ruined stone pagoda, and news spread that he was refining the ruined stone pagoda. Immediately, the fourth stage high-level immeasurable lifeforms of some forces were hidden around the ruined stone tower, as if planning something. After a period of time has passed, Yi Tian is not far from the stone pagoda of preliminary refining and refining. Chapter 2360 Control the relic stone tower. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. Another time has passed. This day, Yi Tian has preliminarily refined the ruined stone pagoda. At this moment, he can already control part of the authority of the ruined stone pagoda, but it will take a long time before he can completely control the ruined stone pagoda. Yi Tian's immeasurable will runs through the 18th floor of the ruined stone pagoda. The first 9 floors have been seen, so there is nothing to spy on, but the latter 9 floors have not been spy on. Soon, Yi Tian's boundless will penetrated the 9 layers behind. 9 gigantic worlds. The world in the tower is very large, and each world has a high personality, even surpassing the original ancient sea, but the area is not comparable. And he took a preliminary peek and found that the world in the 9 towers has nurtured a lot of resources, and there are even some resources that are helpful to him. These 9 worlds alone are priceless treasures, enough to make a top world like Xuanqi Pavilion move. Not only that, some of the resources stored in the ruined stone pagoda are now in the hands of 29 Yi Tian. For example, there are dozens of treasures such as the Black God Armor Stone, and the ruined stone pagoda. It can be said that after possessing the ruined stone pagoda, Yi Tian's worth jumped enough to be comparable to those high-level immeasurable beings in the 4th stage. Certainly, Yi Tian is also very clear that his copy body will definitely be targeted by those forces, and once he leaves the ruined stone pagoda, he will definitely endure the attacks of many great ancestors. Can't go out any time soon. Yi Tian decided, but it is impossible for him not to go out all the time. If he does not go out all the time, and there is no strong man to guard the stone pagoda of the ruins, then he will be determined to be not a member of a powerful force, or to say that he has no background. Then, there will be 4th stage high-level immeasurable life forms forcibly shot, invading the ruined stone tower. If they were forcibly broken open the ruined stone pagoda, Yi Tian's duplicate body would not be able to hide. Although forcibly breaking open the ruined stone tower will damage the original source of the ruined stone tower, but at that time, they don't care whether the ruined stone tower is damaged. At that time, the relic stone tower may even be destroyed. Let those high-level immeasurable beings in the ruined stone tower go out first. Yi Tian's thoughts moved, and all those high-level immeasurable beings were moved out by him one by one. At this time, he was the only one left in the ruined stone tower. Afterwards, Yi Tian began to plan the next practice. First of all, the boundless blood must continue to be condensed and tempered, so as to increase one's own strength. In addition, Taihao's immeasurable body also has to be cultivated. If the Taihao's immeasurable body is raised to the realm of Dachang, his strength can also be transformed like an earth shaking. The other is the Black God Armor Stone. He wants to fuse these Black God Armor Stones into the Golden God Armor Stone. At that time, with the defensive armor formed by the Golden God Armor Stone, even the 4th stage high-level immeasurable life forms will not be able to hit him hard. Immediately, Yi Tian took out the Black God Armor Stones one by one, and then activated the fusion ability of copying talent. I saw that these Black God Armor Stones were fused together one by one. After the 12 Black God Armor Stones were fused, the Black God Armor Stone finally began to transform into a Gold God Armor Stone. Then, Yi Tian refined this Golden God Armor, and formed a set of defensive armor that fused with his body, which could protect himself at all times. Subsequently, Yi Tian began to integrate the resources of the Relic Stone Pagoda, and collected resources suitable for condensing immeasurable blood, but the resources that could help limit the refining of immeasurable blood were very few, or almost none. For example, the Void Golden Water, which is most suitable for the ultimate quenching of boundless blood, does not have the Ruined Stone Pagoda. If there is not enough Void Gold Water, he will not be able to quench all the boundless blood to the limit, and it is almost impossible to quench it slowly by himself. As for the immeasurable blood on the 8th floor of the Ruined Stone Pagoda, there is not much blood now, and they have all been refined by them. Yi Tian pondered for a while, and decided to use some of the resources of the Ruined Stone Pagoda to trade with some forces in Xuanqi territory. Of course, those forces could not trade him Void Gold Water. After all, the Void Golden Water can help the high-level immeasurable beings in the 3rd stage to attack the 4th stage. Even the forces like Xuanqi Pavilion and Juyonghai don't have much Void Golden Water. They will always be short of Void Golden Water. However, the quantity of Void Silver Water is too much, and its value is not large, and it is almost useless to the top 3rd stage high-level immeasurable life forms. The major forces don't have my ability to fuse Void Silver Water into Void Gold Water. I trade with them with some treasures, and they should be willing. Yi Tian thought to himself. And what to trade for? Yi Tian thought about it carefully, and felt that these forces were absolutely happy to use the Black God Armor Stone to trade. Outside the stone tower, the appearance of Yi Tian's incarnation immediately attracted the will of countless high-level lifeforms. When they found out that Yi Tian was just condensing an avatar, they didn't choose to do it. At this time, Yi Tian said, I want to trade some treasures. I wonder which great ancestor is willing to trade. Trading treasures. This suddenly attracted some great ancestors. After all, there are really many good things in the ruined stone tower. So, some great ancestors tentatively communicated with Yi Tian, and they were shocked when they learned that Yi Tian was going to trade the Black God Armor Stone for Void Silver Water. In their opinion, Yi Tian should not be short of Void Silver Water. How could he trade with the Black God Armor Stone? Even if the number of Black God Armor Stones in Yi Tian's hands is not less than 250, he shouldn't trade Void Silver Water, he must trade Void Gold Water. And the price that Yi Tian gave was a Black God Armor Stone in exchange for 100,000 balls of Void Silver Water. This price was indeed very high, and those high-level immeasurable beings in the 3rd stage were naturally unable to get it. Yi Tian actually did not trade with these high-level immeasurable beings, but traded with the top forces in Xuanqi territory. Xuanqi Pavilion. Ancestor Xuanxin got the news, and was immediately moved. A black armor stone is not very helpful to him, at most it can increase some defenses, but it is of great value to the high-level immeasurable life forms of the 3rd stage. If a high-level immeasurable being like the great ancestor of the Star Sea wears the defensive armor formed by the Black God Armor Stone, he can even not be afraid of the great ancestor of Extreme Yang. Immediately, he called Xinghai Great Ancestor. When the great ancestor of Xinghai learned that Xuanqi Pavilion was going to trade a Black God Armor for him, he was immediately very excited. Thank you, great ancestor Xuanxin. The great ancestor of Xinghai said excitedly. The great ancestor Xuanxin said quickly, We will trade 100,000 balls of void silver water for a black god armor stone, but the value of the void silver water you paid needs to be repaid slowly in the future. I know, the great ancestor of Xinghai replied. Immediately, the great ancestor Xuanxin took out 100,000 balls of void silver water from the Xuanqi Pavilion treasury and asked the great ancestor Xinghai to take it to trade the black god armor stone with Yi Tian.